Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Thunder Pod's Turnbuckle Time Machine, our look at big events, wrestling events from days of yore. Today, what we're going to be covering is Wrestlemania IX, which happened on April 4th of 1993 and emanated from Paradise, Nevada at Caesar's Palace at their outdoor arena. Dave, initial thoughts on your rewatch of Wrestlemania IX for the first time in 25 years.
We got to keep everything condensed. My initial thoughts could last a half hour.
Oh, well,
it was so. We'll.
Sure.
I'll trickle them in, but no. All I mean by that is, I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but it is all the ideas they've never had in a show before, all piled into one show.
Oh yeah.
For all of the historically best reasons. At the time, I can't imagine they thought they were going to make money on this show.
That's why this is the inaugural episode of Turnbuckle Time Machine.
There are so many. I Googled worst pay-per-views, and I went through a couple different lists, and the only one WrestleMania that showed up as high consistently in that list is WrestleMania IX. Everything else is, other shows that we'll probably cover in future episodes, but I think this is unanimously the worst reviewed WrestleMania in history.
I mean, honestly, it's way more entertaining than 1 and 2. If you could try to go back and watch 1 and 2 now, especially 2 at the 3 different locations, they're unwatchable.
Yeah.
I think they're the worst ones, the first one and the second one, now, with my 2024 eyes, the hardest to watch, but this is the biggest clusterfuck of terrible cocaine-fueled ideas. It's the cocainiest pay-per-view I've ever seen.
That's a fair way to put it.
It's all.
Well, it's definitely not a steroidy pay-per-view because everybody is a lot smaller and there's a lot of guys that are not there anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, this was I had to be the height of the cocaine era for WWE. Sure. Which was evident right from, we'll start off, the opening graphic, the intro graphic for WrestleMania IX, nostalgic, 90s type music, the stuff that, you're used to hearing if you ever you were like me and you rented a bunch of VHS old pay-per-views all the time and watched them on repeat when you were a kid.
Coliseum home videos.
But then Vince doing the voiceover, and he's just having a fucking conniption fit. He's so coked out of his mind. It is the most Vince-y, welcome to WrestleMania. It sounds like he's choking on his own tongue.
Yeah.
The only thing comparable was when they did the Slammy Awards and Vince was gritting his teeth. He was so coked up. It was good. It was a good way to signal what we had in store for us for the next 2.5 hours.
It's very fair. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea ever, that voice.
Cocaine.
But he did it his entire maybe maybe when there's smoke there's fire, but there's no other promotion, there's no other real announcers, sports announcers that ever
He's
spoke
not a real announcer. He was the owner.
Right. But he stuck to that so goddamn hard.
He did, and the funniest thing about it is he pronounces it wrong. He called it Wrestlemania.
Well, he's doing a Slipknot impression where he's just doing that guttural.
I bet you he would be
vocal
a good
frying.
Hardcore. Yeah, he does that thing that I can't.
It's way down in
a
your
throat thing, or a native chant thing. Do you ever?
WrestleMania.
The Eskimo tribes that do the that thing I can't even do. It's from down in your chest. I think that's what Vince is like.
Because you're not of that tribe.
Touching, but either is Vince. Maybe you just need a bunch of cocaine.
He hired enough guys and learned different cultures. So he knew how to present their characters in the most racist way possible.
He definitely was aware that there were other cultures.
Good Lord, was this show just a nice reminder
We got a few.
hey, where were your parents from? That's going to be your entire character.
And again, I'll remind you again at the top here, this is from 1993, not 1943. But boy, times have changed.
Holy Lord.
So the way this is set up, it's an outdoor arena. It was in daylight the entire, I don't know what time it was, what time it started originally.
That's a good point.
But it was in daylight the entire time.
Let's look.
And they said 16,000 something attendance. No goddamn way. There were 16,000 people in that little, it looked like
apparently the gate for WrestleMania 8 was equivalent or damn near equivalent to the gate for WrestleMania 9, despite there being like a quarter of the attendees.
How? Just
so what I heard and what I read.
Price a ticket because it's Vegas, or
yeah, you're kind of. So when I was researching this, I found out that Caesar's Palace saw this as an opportunity to get their sharks into Vegas. So they comped a lot of these tickets. So Vegas paid for the. Yeah, I guess Vegas, like the proprietors of certain hotels and stuff.
CEO of Caesars,
who was the best promo on the whole show.
Yeah.
But they got all their sharks in there, so they paid top dollar for these tickets. So a lot of the crowd was not wrestling fans. They
looked like a bunch of sunburned, dorky white people.
Yeah, who were there.
And they cheered for some weird shit.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna
one
cover
thing in particular.
Yeah, we're gonna cover. There was a lot of things that were off in this, sure. But yeah, a lot of the people there didn't buy tickets to the show. They were flown in the hopes that, hey, let's spend a few $1,000 on a ticket. Why don't you stick around and drop like 10, 20 grand at the blackjack table?
Yeah.
That's how Vegas thinks.
So that's the Vegas move.
But that equated WrestleMania 8's gate to WrestleMania 9 based on the research that I did, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, no, that is cool and interesting to know, David.
Yeah.
But to your eye, it looked to me like about 800 people.
It looked like
16,000. No,
it looked like when on WCW Nitro when Lex Luger debuted and they ran the show in the Mall of America. It looked like the smallest damn crowd.
The comp that I made internally, and I was going to mention it later, but I may as well say it now. Do you remember when during the like heyday of TRL? MTV did a beach brawl, WCW beach brawl. Chris Jericho was like the biggest star on it, where WCW sent a bunch of their like B and C crew wrestlers to go in front of a bunch of like live studio audience MTV kids.
Are you describing AEW?
And it was these people, Dave, would not understand the difference between a Tiger Driver 91 and a Tiger Driver 98. Thank you very much.
Stand corrected.
This was like
per usual.
Jericho actually looked. He kind of was the standout on these.
Is
things.
this when he was like yoked and like had the V lines?
It was like right before we saw him debut in WWF at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like his last few months with WCW. They didn't know he was leaving or anything, but like he was the biggest name, and then it was like Brian Adams, who we see here, unfortunately. So we'll talk about him a little bit, but like he was like the next biggest star, but it was like it very much looked like this, and that had like 150 people there. Right. It didn't look all that different as far as crowd size. They mentioned twice that it was 16,000 at this WrestleMania. I know that you always inflate your numbers at wrestling shows, but it was like, come on, like, I'm not blind. This is not 16,000.
100% not blind. I know it's 16. What is like a White Sox game? Like, what's that?
When the White Sox are competitive, and a good crowd is like 30,000.
Okay.
Oh, here is probably a better example.
Yeah.
Sting's retirement. There was like 16 or 17.
There were a lot more people at the Revolution pay-per-view.
Yes.
Than there
like
were
4
at
times
WrestleMania
more.
9.
And I don't think, this was kind of we're going into one of the lowest times for WWF. But they're still definitely popular enough. They could have had 16,000 people if they wanted to. This place it's like a little arena in the suburbs of Vegas. It's not built for that many people.
No, and not family friendly. So like you can't have a lot of like.
Neither was this show.
No, Jesus Christ, not at all.
When the show kicks off, so everybody, just to give people an idea what it looks like. So like an outdoor arena, like in the round kind of thing. Ring is in the center, and there's like one tunnel coming off to the right. That's where performers come down. Everyone, all performers, like TV people, announcers, interviewers, and stuff are wearing togas, which is
it was advertised as the world's largest toga party.
And it looked that way.
Yeah.
Gorilla Monsoon is the first one we see, and I thought he looked very much like. It fit him better, like it worked for Gorilla more than it did other people, but like he's got the Gorilla Monsoon, like kind of what they used to call the glasses that get darker in the sun,
like the
transition
lenses. That's right.
That didn't fit the theme of ancient Rome, but it did very much make him look like the villain in like a 70s softcore porn movie, like set in ancient Rome,
yeah,
where they wouldn't bother to have the guy take the glasses off.
No.
But he's like gorilla, so he looks like one of those dudes.
Yeah.
Jim Ross. So this was his first
Ever
job with WWF. So like he's been working for WCW for forever. The wrestlers wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
Essentially up through like 90, probably mid 95 when they made the mistake of trying to do what WWF did. WCW was like we're going to do a sports broadcast. We have the better in-ring wrestling. That's what they were for like the 10-year period that Jim Ross was there. So Jim Ross he makes the jump because WWF offers him more money. And the first goddamn thing he has to do is put a toga on and like lower himself to Vince's coked up idea of what a pay-per-view should look like.
And to his credit, man, like he came out guns a-blazing.
It was super fun seeing him like that, this much energy.
And like I don't want to like make this like sound crass at all, but like it was pre all his Bell's palsy stuff.
I mean, so it was nice to see him healthy too.
Nice young youthful Jim Ross. You're like, God damn, this guy was good.
He was working his ass off.
He announced it like a football game.
Yes,
like
it
was so much more engaging. And like I get why he's got the reputation. Now you really got to go back and see like what his origin story in the company was.
Even like if you go back to the Attitude Era stuff, that stuff was we grew up with that. That was awesome, but it was different. Like you said, this was like he was calling a college football game.
1000%. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. The first thing he had to do was like show off his toga. He also called his golden sandals like, "Oh, check out these shoes!" And like, no, Jared, those are sandals. I know they probably don't have men's sandals in Oklahoma.
They certainly don't. No.
What the hell is this bullshit? My toes are out. God damn it. But it didn't hamper his performance whatsoever.
Not a bit.
They throw it right away to Finkus Maximus, the Fink, Howard Finkel, who looked to me like, I don't know if he just got some bad news or he had just dropped like 10 grand at the tables. White as a sheet. Looked like he had massive blood loss or something. Like Finkel looking terrible.
Well, when you put a toga on and all the ornamentation that goes around it, it tends to mute your skin tone a little bit. I don't fucking know.
Nobody else looked like they were being bled out.
This is me bleeding a stone trying to find a reason that he looked anemic.
I think his old Finkus Maximus.
Yeah.
We get Julius Caesar and Cleopatra are the first people that come down the tunnel.
By the way, a lot of animals on this show.
An elephant was the first. This was the first one with Cleopatra and Caesar.
And like in doing research, I found out that these were all animals provided by Caesar, so they were quote unquote working animals, and
hopefully cared for by Caesar.
Yeah,
I was really worried about like what it would look like if Vince McMahon were responsible for caring for an elephant.
It was all Caesars. I guess they gave him a big list of animals that were available, and WWF took them up on a handful of them.
Because he would probably try to give them cocaine.
Oh, sure.
Something like that.
Yeah. Maybe give him a scoop of IcoPro. But I thought it was impressive as hell. Maybe the biggest physical feat of the show, that the elephant was carrying Cleopatra under its trunk.
Yeah.
So like she wasn't riding the elephant. The thing just carried her.
And then
in
he did
trunk.
I said, elephant had the first good spot of the show. He does like a rear up too. And like, it's kind of tight. So like there's people on both sides of him, this big giant ass elephant, like within touching distance, and doesn't get spooked at all. And it does the big spot and doesn't, touch anybody.
And that could have been a Stampy situation.
I did note that I'm like, who is this schmuck that they got to play Caesar? It's just he looked like he was giving off like Henry Ellis from Die Hard. I'm sorry, Harry Ellis from Die Hard. The douchey guy. I had to look up his name because I always just call him the douchey guy that gets his brains blown out. But like, he had that kind of like 80s energy, whoever this fucking guy was that they brought out. And I thought it probably is just like the locker room's like regular Coke dealer. That he just wanted to give him some TV time.
So I'm not sure, despite it coming up quite a bit so far, this was a downtime in illegal substances in the company.
Not that one particularly, though.
Yeah.
Because I looked into this for like steroids and even for weed for whatever reason.
This was around the
crackdown,
the trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cocaine, like absolutely rampant.
Oh boy!
And if you watch some of like if you watch like promos between '88 and about '93, which is like this is the last year. '94 it starts to go into new era. and people scale that back. But not like right now, it's still like pretty nutty, over the top, and like, come on, this whole show is very clearly like somebody's like false confidence idea when they were super high. I guess that's what cocaine does. It makes you way more confident about an idea than like you should be.
Right.
And that's, this whole thing screams that to me.
Yeah.
It was getting coke vibes. Like, because early 90s, it's still kind of that era. Like, I mean, in America, not just in wrestling, but like, there was a bunch of stuff that led me to believe that, it was still rampant.
Very much could have been. Yeah, that I'm not sure. I don't know. Could be.
But the guy he's just like a scumbag. I guess he could have been their meth dealer or whatever, too. Like,
well, he had to look the part, and I can't imagine. Like, he looked like half the bros that are at my gym between like 5 and 7 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Like all the like, they all look the same. And like I saw him, and I'm like, oh, I think I saw you yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, doing bench press.
Those guys all kind of look like coke dealers from the 80s and 90s.
They could. They could. I don't remember. Macho Man came out next.
Yeah.
He was carried out, and he was being fed grapes.
He was.
Which was...
They called them Vestal Virgins.
He was with the Vestal Virgins, and they say they're pure of body and pure of thought.
I kept thinking, please keep them away from Macho, from the rumors that are out there about old Mach.
Yeah. They dropped in the tidbit that...
pure of thought that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that pure of body, pure of thought. What does that mean? What does pure of thought mean? Like, they don't have like
non-sexual thoughts, I assume, right?
Yeah, but how do you?
You don't.
The Lord doesn't stop.
Yeah,
that.
The world was so like patriarchal.
I get,
back then. I think men probably thought that they could know.
I see
what women are thinking.
That's fair. That's fair.
They probably like burned a lot of them for, a woman like looks at somebody and the dude thinks that she looked at them in a lustful way or whatever, when she probably was just tired or something, and like got burned at the stake. I'm thinking that probably happened a lot.
You could just yell "witch." What an easy out that was.
Yeah,
back then.
It's what a great time.
Not a great time. Sarcastically, they did mention that Bobby Heenan made the comment that he was supposed to be with the Vestal Virgins. In the narrative here, Randy Savage leapfrogged him to get the better entrance with the Vestal Virgins.
Which fits the theme they were going for. Randy is a rough commentator. He is.
Yeah. He did not start off strong. No.
But you know what's funny? And I looked this up because I'm like, why the fuck did Vince do this to this dude? He's one of your best workers, one of your biggest stars of all time.
Yeah.
And Vince, sidelined him. He didn't want him. He said he was too old to be wrestling still, which things were a little bit different in or 80s, early 90s. It was a younger man's game in pro wrestling than it is now. But fucking Macho Man on this show was this almost to the month the same age as Orange Cassidy is currently.
Oh, okay.
So like imagine Tony Khan grabbing Orange Cassidy right now and being like, "Yeah,
how old
I think you're past it."
Do you remember how old it was?
Commentary.
Do you remember how old he was?
40 even. And Orange Cassidy is had just turned 40, and Orange Cassidy is turning 40 in 2 months.
Yeah.
So like couple of months apart.
Bob Backlund was 43 on this show.
And
they said he hasn't wrestled in 7-8 years. I can't remember what it was. And he had to work toward a comeback.
Too, but
yeah, but he looks like he's from 1810.
That's why, yeah.
He looks like he opened the Olympics when they started.
Like when he goes swimming, he wears one of those stripy, all covering his whole body
and he's
suits.
somehow moving faster than everybody else because his footage is sped up. But the thing with the Macho Man is I can't get a clear understanding of if he was voluntarily put on commentary or if he
everything
was
I've heard is that he hates it. He didn't want to do it.
So
Vince demanded that if he's going to keep working, it was only going to be in commentary.
I read that, but I also read that he moved to Connecticut. He wanted to do more behind the scenes stuff, do more promotional stuff, and it wasn't a forced situation. He didn't want to wrestle. He was weaning himself off of it.
The way that I understand it is that because he's Macho Man and because he's a maniac and he's got the best work ethic of anybody.
One guy who definitely never touched a drug.
He
never touched a drug. Never once.
No cocaine for those
Pop-Tarts.
Promos.
He just loaded up on Pop-Tarts. Just
cream rising to the top.
Yeah. You never had a Pop-Tart?
But
I do that every
from
time.
From what I've heard, as long as they're not the ones with no frosting, those are that should be
You require frosting.
illegal. Yes.
Yeah.
The no frosting Pop-Tart. Who the fuck wants? If you're eating healthy, you're not eating Pop-Tarts. So then why? Who's getting those? What psycho serial killer is buying no? No, it's all the same.
It's all the same price.
You just don't get the good tasting thing.
Yeah.
From what I understand is Macho, once Vince told him, stop asking, you're too old, I'm not putting you in the ring anymore. Macho Man then looked at, well, okay, what my job is now is going to be this. How many different things can I bring to it? I'm going to get as good as I can at commentary. He never got even okay. He's an awful commentator.
Yeah.
But the promotional stuff and all that stuff was all him putting his whole self into what he thought was now his only opportunity, his only job with the company now. So like
that marries those together.
He never seemed comfortable at all either on commentary.
No.
Not just bad. He seemed like uncomfortable and bad.
Yeah.
Do you think, a thought I had, like halfway into this show, I don't know what was his first. I know he did like early Raws and stuff. Do you suppose once he was put on commentary full time, he regretted his early life decision to go with that voice? Because it works for promos. 2.5 hours, it gets a little rough doing that.
I mean, he carried that through. So like, I know a guy who has a voicemail from him a few years before he passed away, and he talked like that organically through and through.
The full growl, or just because he's got that second gear one where when he brings it down a little bit,
it's really popular.
Like this.
But like it's not like, hi everybody, it's Randy over here.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, the Genius says that it's 100% put on and he sounds completely different if he talks normally.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear Dusty Rhodes talk normally?
No.
It's fucking bizarre.
Does he have a lisp?
He's got a little bit of a lisp, but not nearly as pronounced.
Yeah.
But he just talks like a dude.
Oh.
I saw there's only one piece of footage I've ever seen. It's like late in his life at the Performance Center. Somebody asked him a legit question about a training method or something, and he talks for like 4 sentences like a person. And I felt like it was an uncanny valley. I thought I was like having a stroke or something. It's super weird hearing Dusty talk regular.
I don't care for that.
No, I didn't either. No. It was like Rey Mysterio with no mask.
Don't show me that. I would like to.
Yeah, like the Mysterio.
I don't want to. I don't want to see how the sausage is made for a lot of things. No.
So Heenan is out next. Bobby Heenan, an ostrich first, comes out ahead of Bobby, and Bobby the Brain is riding a camel backwards, which he's absolutely apoplectic about. He's just super pissed off. When I made the note here, but I absolutely believe this. Bobby Heenan could have had a real legitimate career as a talk show host, comedian, something better than wrestling.
After watching this show, he's legitimately funny.
Oh, absolutely.
I laughed so much just listening to the banter, and it just added so much
to banter with Bobby, and Bobby just
thank the Lord Jim Ross was there that he could actually hang with him a little bit. But my God, does this guy add so much to the show? He just always has something to say.
I think he's the GOAT. I think he's the best announcer of all time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, because he would also tell stories, and he would also be like, "Oh, the reason he's doing that is because 4 months ago, so and so attacked that," and they're
all in kayfabe,
and you're like, Jesus Christ,
but it sounds natural. It sounds like it's a real thing.
Yeah,
he put himself into kayfabe. Did you ever watch the old Primetime, the Monday night Primetime?
Of course.
So I used to record and then watch it before school every day.
Yeah,
it's a maniac. But Gorilla and Heenan have exchanges on that were better than shit you'd see on Letterman all the time. Heenan could have been a big talk show star.
Absolutely. No, he was absolutely hysterical.
Probably would have lived a longer, happier life too.
Also, too, I'm going to say again in doing research 600 times, but Heenan pitched the camel thing. He's like, this makes more sense for me. He's like, and I should be backwards.
And it was perfect. It was the best thing about all of this.
They were kind of questionable about it, and then they ran rehearsal, and it went off without a hitch, and he's like, I'm doing it. And then he gets off the camel and
Did he pitch Macho Man sexually assaulting him immediately?
What do you mean? When he lifts his toga?
He falls. Yeah, Heenan falls and I think the idea was to make it comical that you could see his underwear, so it was toga. But Macho Man just middle of the camera, he bends over and kind of aggressively grabs his toga and just lifts it up like he's gonna mount him or something.
Right.
It was really awkward. Well, we saw Heenan's underwear, quote unquote. It's just blue trunks he used to wrestle in.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be his underwear.
Sure. Yeah, it was very funny and very selfless performer. That made me like him even more when I heard that story. He just went for it.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That was his idea as well. Love it. Oh, he didn't, when Heenan got down, his excuse was that that was an attack camel. Oh, sorry.
He also said, too, when he got to commentary, so it was Macho Man, Jim Ross, and Heenan, and they just kept going on and on about how terrible Heenan smelled because he was just on a camel. Yeah. And Heenan says, Jim Ross is probably used to smelling like a camel, or I can't remember if it was a camel or a zoo. Zoo probably makes more sense. Said Heenan says Jim Ross is used to smelling like a zoo since he's from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, just beat this guy mercilessly for 2.5 hours because he's from Oklahoma.
Absolutely. He asked Ross if is Oklahoma a suburb of Kentucky?
No, it's from Arkansas.
It was at this point that Macho Man gave us a really solid example of what we were going to get from him from the next 3 hours. And after hearing this, I don't know that you could possibly argue that cocaine was the primary factor in all of this WrestleMania. Macho's first big piece of monologue on commentary was WrestleMania IX. Go for it. Lock and load. Do the thing. If you got the guts, ooh yeah. That's all.
And then he walked away and
there was a big
to the
pause
crowd.
And then Heenan was like, I guess I should talk now. It was just nonsense stream of consciousness out of Macho.
Well, there was that.
So our first match was
before we get to the first match.
I'm sorry, Dave.
I had some. I know we're excited. There's some notes. I went and there's actually a lot that built up to this. One, the big overarching crux of this is Hulk Hogan, which is what made it.
Oh yeah,
a rough pay-per-view through and through.
More than rough.
We'll get.
He's sick.
He'll be an ongoing theme throughout. But
he looks like a big old walrus now.
And he's way smaller than he was the year prior in WrestleMania 8.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about how self-conscious he was about the way he looked here.
Because of his swollen
he
shut
couldn't do his
eye?
steroids anymore. Well, he was talking about his body. Yeah. I would be more self-conscious about the gangrenous fucking pus-filled eyeball thing he has going on.
But they, so Hogan, being Hogan, is responsible for a match getting cut from the card.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be Bam Bam Bigelow versus Kamala, but it was canceled due. They wanted to make sure Hogan had enough time to pose. That's literally the only reason that they cut that match.
We'll talk about that in the after the tag match. I have some very specific things.
Well, so we'll get into that. Speaking of WrestleMania 8, if you look at the card from WrestleMania 8, it was a lot of main event dudes that were not on WrestleMania 9. So there were 40 participants in WrestleMania 8. Of those, 1 year later, there were only 13 that were on the show. So it was a 67.5% drop off from year over year. I have a lot of things to say about the tag match with Money Inc. and
I'm sure that's what we'll spend the most. The Mega Maniacs, for fuck's sake.
But
Hogan and your cocaine nonsense. What a stupid goddamn name.
The Mega Maniacs. They're the Mega. Everything had to be a maniac or a mega.
Well, it was Mega Powers. That made sense because there was Macho, but then because they're the Mega Powers.
Yeah.
But then Macho leaves, and obviously the best creative thing Hogan and his idiot buddy had could come up with. Let's just add maniacs because of Hulkamaniacs. Mega Maniacs.
I guess branding.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's
we already covered. It's this was the first WrestleMania held outdoors, and there was not another one until WrestleMania 24 in 2008, which I thought was very surprising.
Yeah. I could have swore there were WrestleManias before 2008 outside, but if you did the research, I believe you. And it was really weird that it was the main event was still under what looked like noonday
daytime.
Sun.
Yeah. So it had to have started at because if it's West Coast and it wants to be on at 7.
It wasn't a super long pay-per-view. It was 3 hours.
It was under 3 hours. Yeah,
a little under.
So if it starts at 7 Central, it's what we heard our entire lives.
Yeah.
So it would have to be 3 hours before that?
Yeah,
so,
at least.
So
it didn't look like dusk either.
No. So the sun wasn't even setting at that point. So it was light the entire time, which must have been
with no
awesome.
shade too for those people in Nevada.
No, but it's a dry heat. It's okay. This was the first pay-per-view. I'm sorry, the first WrestleMania without any outside celebrities.
Performing, because they did go to a couple very low-level celebrities in the crowd a couple of times.
Who?
Well, I was gonna. We'll get to it when we talk about Todd Pettengill.
Oh no! Oh well, he was working that night.
But he talks to briefly right before he talked to the the mob boss owner Caesars.
Yeah.
He talked to Natalie. What's her name? The daughter of the guy that sang all the Christmas songs. That she herself had a pretty decent music career around this time.
Cole. Natalie Cole.
Natalie Cole. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was there. It's just looking at Todd Pettengill behind, trying her best to mask her disdain for that dipshit, like behind her giant sunglasses.
He interviewed her during Hogan posing, I believe.
Yeah, and he just kept asking her questions, and each answer was more and more like, okay, yeah,
right.
Yes, Kurt, like, get out of my face, you fucking Wish.com man cow douchebag.
Yeah.
Like, but that was only real celebrity I could think of.
Yeah.
I mean, Julius Caesar was there. That guy's a celebrity.
Sure. I see him 6 times a day at my gym in 15 different versions. The dark match was Tito Santana versus Papa Shango.
You know, Tito was born in America. It's shocking to me.
Why?
Because they always portrayed him as like a dude that had like
he was a matador.
difficulties with English and goddamn Jesse the Body racistly calling him Chico Santana his whole career. But like I recently heard that he did later in his career go do a tour in Mexico, and like it was very difficult for him because he had no idea about like lucha culture, lucha wrestling. Because he'd only learned the WWE style.
Because he's not from Mexico. That's
there's a couple of those too that are very amusing on this show later. The people being from different places than you would think.
The openness to cultural and sensitivity just based on where someone is born, man.
Yeah,
I guess what a time to be alive if that's what you're into.
Like,
if you love this stereotyping.
If you're like a white dude that is a descendant of people that like were on the Mayflower and also don't think very much of people of other cultures.
No, or people from Oklahoma. Like it was
Oklahoma's even a different culture.
Yeah, like they just brutalized. Like if you looked slightly different, they made sure the audience knew about it.
When you hear the idea of othering people, like they could show WrestleMania IX like in a human resources class to
they can.
in a business or like a workplace. Like this is what othering is.
Now what did Hulk Hogan do wrong in this promo? I know.
You want to?
Yeah, we can start now. Yeah,
so
that was
first
not
match,
many notes, but yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you say you had more or
no? There were not many notes.
Oh, okay, cool.
That was all.
First match of the day, I guess I was gonna say night, but it was daytime, obviously. Shawn Michaels, HBK, for the Intercontinental title, which was his at this point in time, against Tatanka, who was very, very big in the early 90s. And Luna accompanied Shawn Michaels for some unspoken and completely confusing reason.
They again, I had to find all this out through research. First off, that was Luna's first appearance, which was evidenced by Jim Ross giving her entire lineage as she's walking to the ring.
But like nothing to do with why she's here for this particular...
Nope. No, but like the only reason was because this match was originally supposed to be Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. So like Marty Jannetty got fired.
Party Marty killed somebody or something?
He was fired after the Royal Rumble and before WrestleMania. So like they did a thing where Sensational Sherry, who's coming out next, was pairing up. Like Shawn Michaels dumped her and like she was buddying up with Marty Jannetty. So yeah, they didn't explain at all why Luna Vachon was in there, but it was supposed to be that.
I'm gonna sound like you here. A video package would have been helpful for me.
Tremendous. The way they tried to inject that was Mean Gene Okerlund between each match, and then they would throw to like some old Monday Night Raws or whatever. I was, by the way, blown away Monday Night Raw was a thing at this time.
Yeah,
like I just forgot it started back then.
I thought primetime went till about 1997.
Absolutely, until Stone Cold showed up. I thought it was Saturday Night's main event. But no, that's what it was supposed to be.
It just felt like a separate story happening outside the ring.
She was just a foil for Sherry with, again, no rhyme or reason.
She came out first, so like, to be a foil for Sherry, she should have come out. Sherry, by the way, comes out wearing just a flapper costume.
Yep.
I think, was somebody fucking with her? Like a rib? They were like, oh yeah, the theme's going to be 1920s. So she's dressed like it's the 1920s New York in the midst of everybody in a toga.
Sure. Well, she's got rhythm. She's got music. She's got her girl. Who can ask for anything more?
Performer. Tatanka's music is chiptune, which was amusing. It sounded like probably the same music from like the WrestleMania arcade video game.
Yeah.
Like it's rough. I did look up whether Tatanka was actually Native American because I found out that he was like there's a couple of guys up for the job because in the show he portrays a Native American guy in a pretty stereotypical way.
Is he not Native American?
So the guy that he beat to he won out the role of Tatanka. The other guy got cut.
They wrestled.
The other
for
guy
it?
was like, no, Vince had them both audition. The other
Okay.
guy was like complete full like Cherokee. So and Tatanka is like part Samoan, and it is unclear if it's true or not. They said in retrospect that he was like a member of the Lumbee tribe, which I'd never heard of, and it's also like and then I looked it up, and it's a super small tribe, like the smallest of any of the tribes that like we would know the names of.
Okay.
I kind of think maybe they just said he was that because there were not a lot of people that could say, "Oh no, he's not." Like I think he was just like a Samoan and white guy, and they were like, "Okay, Lumbee," because that's more likely than he is part of this like super tiny tribe from the Carolinas.
Could be. Could be.
Once they decided to not go with the actual Native American guy.
Right.
What would be more offensive though? Like because he's doing the like
Yeah, but they had who was it? Wahoo McDaniel. One of them
who was Italian American. By the way,
he had zero in Native American in him.
So at least they I guess the lip
don't give
service
a
of
shit.
pretending that he was Native American.
They don't care.
This match was surprisingly bad to me.
You didn't like it.
I mean, I liked it for reasons, but it's crazy how much better Shawn Michaels is in his 40s than he is here. I mean, he's clearly still developing, and like you could see with the spots and everything, it's there, but like the pace and stuff is not anywhere close to what it would be just a few years later.
That's the whole pay-per-view. That's
like
one
rest
overarching
holds.
thing. It was 60% rest holds,
It's
and then
real
they
hard
would
watching
inject
WWF from
they
that
would
era.
they would inject spots in, and the spots felt huge because they were just hugging for 10 straight
For
minutes.
most of them, the spots they're like
There were a couple good ones in this. Like
for sure.
There was a top rope
I mean,
arm
Tatanka's
drag.
talented too.
Like Shawn Michaels dives off the top rope and Tatanka turns it into an arm drag.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of moves I don't ever see in wrestling, like I think the arm drags are still there. I started making a list of like the inverted and regular atomic
drops. There's like 500 atomic drops on the show.
You don't see
I
them
haven't
anymore.
seen one in forever.
Most of the matches had a test of strength to open. And then the catapult into the ring post. You see that too often anymore.
This match had a catapult into the ring post. Michaels sold it incredibly, but just ate the ring post.
Yeah.
And then Tatanka capitalizes by putting the softest looking arm, like standing arm bar on I've ever seen. Your opponent got his teeth knocked out.
That
and
was
then
most of the
put him
match.
in like a 40-minute arm bar to follow.
But again, going back to how great Bobby Heenan was, he highlights that Tatanka separated Shawn Michaels' shoulder in a that's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Separated Shawn Michaels' shoulder in a 6-man, so he stays on it. Right. So, and one of the stories of the match was he's just got a shoulder problem.
Yeah.
And like
he's working the arm. It would have helped that if any of those arm locks looked like he was trying to put pressure on.
He looked like he was doing a clubhouse handshake for most of it, just standing in the middle of the ring. And
Like
Shawn
he was
Michaels was
stretching
trying to
Michaels for him.
pull
Like-
his hair and like not get caught. But meanwhile, he's supposed to be in this like I'm in pain mood. Like it just. Ugh.
Yeah.
It
So
did
Michaels
not look
also
good.
did a they called it a crescent kick back then, but he did the Shelton Benjamin super kick spot.
He certainly did.
Tatanka went for a flying nothing and
Absolutely.
And
A flying
first time
nothing.
Shawn Michaels he hits him with the
He went for a tomahawk chop. Top rope tomahawk chop.
Tatanka's entire offense is a tomahawk-based offense. Everything he did was a karate chop-based derivatives of top-of-head karate chop.
And they were very
all the man
effective.
did.
Must have been good because he was undefeated going into this
he
match.
was the big star. I mean, he's a good athlete.
Big star.
I don't think. I just think he didn't have the gas. I think these guys party so much. That's why this era in WWF, because it wasn't like this in WCW back then. I think that's they're out partying all the time, and that's why they have to do 1,000 rest holds because nobody's got the gas to go.
You got to fire the crowd up.
Yeah.
You got to bring them down.
Well, this crowd was fucking super into all this boring shit. Like, they were going nuts. Maybe they handed out cocaine before the show.
The amount of pops that, maybe because it was the first match, when they opened the match with just...
It was not just the first match.
No. But what I'm saying is a series of arm drags got noticeable pops to start the show. And I'm like, whoa, arm drags.
I mean, compared to what we got for the next 3 hours, like, arm drags should have popped you. Like, it would have popped me.
But that won't. But my point is that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no. I mean, like,
you need to do.
About, now you got Will Ospreay, so yeah, it does desensitize you to, like, arm drags are cool looking. Yeah. Like, you forget that. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Macho Man did mention they were going back and forth about the Vestal Virgins again, like mid match.
Oh, right.
And Macho insinuated that they were not the only virgins. That Luna Vachon is so ugly that she was likely a virgin as well.
Also mentioned that she won Miss Ontario.
Yes.
Which they harped on about, but I'm like, who the fuck comes up with this?
Macho, his big contribution to the match was there was a big pause in the action, and Macho just said, "Tatanka, doing the thing," and that was it, just doing the thing.
Doing the thing.
What the fuck the thing is, no idea. Macho just put that in there. Yeah, I put in my notes. Boy, these wrestles.
There were a lot.
You would think with these two, it would have been a little like Sean was working his butt off, but he was not at this point not quite the performer that he was. A little bit later, Tatanka did lay in some like Penta-esque chops, like classic chops.
I noticed that too.
Booming chops.
Some of the tried and true tropes of wrestling, like, were still very evident in
like
this
it didn't
match.
get a big reaction, but if he would have laid in that exact chop in 2024, that would pop everybody.
Absolutely. But even the spots, like we were saying, like a lot of rest holds and just kind of very basic stuff, and not fully formed versions of the guys that we would eventually love. Like all the biggest spots that I wrote down were all top rope oriented. It was like you had mentioned the top rope chop that was countered by the crescent kick. I already mentioned the top rope arm drag.
Yeah.
Then there was Shawn Michaels dives from the top rope and then gets caught and turned into a power slam. It's like, there were fucking dope stuff in this match.
There was.
Yeah. But when you have such nothingness most of the match, that
Chin
shit's
locks
exciting.
For minutes and minutes and minutes.
And then the match wasn't that long. It was only, it was kind of long. 18 minutes?
Yeah.
That's a long for an opener.
If you're not working that like fast.
What did Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio go in WrestleMania 21? I can't imagine it was 18 minutes, and they got a lot more done in that time.
But there were like, if you go watch WCW, right at this time was when or like the year before this, it was like Sting and Luger against the Steiners, who are three of them are at this show. But like that goes like 18, 19 minutes, and like those guys are going 1,000 miles an hour the entire time. So like it wasn't. I really think it was the partying. I think these guys were just living a lifestyle that was not conducive to having the cardio to go.
Also, if this was the WWE style match, like this isn't like a isolated incident. Like this is how matches were.
That's how
then.
all the shows.
So
like top to bottom.
Maybe we have this out of order. Maybe it's we can have matches like this. Oh, I'm sorry, because we have matches like this,
I can party all night.
Bingo.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Schmaz finish for the opener of WrestleMania.
The amount
is
of
rough, man.
A lot of schmaz finishes.
Did you notice the thing about this schmaz finish that made me fucking piss my pants? Yeah. So the way it ended was Shawn Michaels gets counted out. They're like both guys are out of the ring. Tatanka makes it back in. The ref only got to 8.
Oh, he did.
You could I rewound it and rewatched it again. You could hear him counting. He only counted to 8, and then they just said count out, and that was it.
I was confused.
Oh, okay. You can clearly hear him say,
I was
7, 8.
Oh, damn it. I'm really bummed that I missed that.
Just
that seems like something I would
first
catch.
thing in a big line of like crazy cokey fuck ups on this show. Like it was, but I'm like, is it possible that they fucked that up? They did that kind of a finish for your WrestleMania opener.
Well, the reason they did that is they want, again, Tatanka was undefeated. They wanted to keep him undefeated, and keep him strong, and they didn't want to take the title off of Shawn Michaels. So this was literally this or DQ, which is what but that's what I thought the end was, because like I was like half watching it because that ending came out of nowhere. And like I don't remember,
especially since they didn't even count to 10.
Right. I remember 2 finishes from this pay-per-view, because as we were talking before we hit record, neither of us had probably seen this in over 20 years.
Yeah.
So like it was like fresh eyes. We got to watch it, but at some point so right after they were quote unquote counted out, Shawn Michaels pulls the ref out of the ring. Tatanka hits a Samoan drop, and then the ref rings the bell, and I'm like, oh, Shawn Michaels got disqualified because he pulled the ref out of the ring. And then they're like,
no, count out.
Count out.
But only got to 8, pulled him out, and then Shawn Michaels immediately gets in the ring.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even 2 seconds after he pulled him out. So, like, the ref never counted 10.
No.
And then they just said count out because they're like, what the fuck? These people don't care. They just want to, people want nuts anyway. People just want to cheer.
I guess you got to get out of it somehow, but, like, I don't know. The details count.
A whole
Counting
lot of ways.
to 10 is important.
I think this is probably the era where Vince got in his bad habits of like, I can just schmoz every single finish, and indeed, so nobody ever has to lose.
And there was a lot of that on this show.
Yes, it was. I got the feeling there was an awful lot of like that doesn't work for me, brother, from a lot of these performers. Like
work for me, brother.
Shawn Michaels, by the way, like when he's first coming out to the ring for this match, it is just his face. You're like, oh yeah, he was a dipshit at this time in his life.
Yeah,
like he looks difficult to deal with.
Very documented, difficult Shawn Michaels era.
You can see it. You can see it in him.
And then after.
The stiffest work of the match.
Yes.
By far.
Good for Sherry. That was a bump.
Sherry and Luna go at it. It was like the stiffest. It was a clothesline and a body slam, I think.
Yeah.
And both like crisp as hell on outside onto the
outside
concrete.
Yeah. And then that was an ongoing arc throughout the show. They kept revisiting, like, one of Shawn's attack.
I did like that about this show in general, too. Is they did have some ongoing through line stuff. That was fun.
Which makes sense. And, like, once I heard him doing that, I'm like, that is what would happen.
Yeah.
If you put people who don't like each other in a small locker room backstage, it would fucking up.
Yeah.
They would fight. And that happened twice on this show with 2 different storylines.
And in this era, it happened in real life, too, quite a bit.
Yeah, no, yeah. So that was your opener of WrestleMania 9.
We cut immediately to Mean Gene in the back, looking awkward in his toga. He's with the Steiners, Scott and Rick Steiner. To me, I felt like I was Uncanny Valley hearing Big Papa Pump's obvious voice coming out of that long-haired young man's mouth. It was like, what the hell? Why do you sound the same as Big Papa Pump?
And it was coherent.
Which
really
it was like a coherent version of, but the same voice, same cadence,
exact same voice.
And then Rick Steiner talked to. He just sounds exactly like Braun Breaker.
Yeah,
like
how did they get
How
did they get away with the Michigan stuff?
I don't know. I actually don't think it's a problem because WCW did it forever, and WCW would do it regularly because it was like, they're going for that sports thing.
Yeah.
So like when Dr. Death, he would wear his Oklahoma shit, and like the Steiners, they could never be on TV without Jim Ross and WCW talking about them being all-American wrestlers in Michigan, like every single show they were on.
Yeah, I guess if you got Jim Ross, he's going to do that. That's his thing.
They really like talking about the Steiners in Michigan.
Because too, once the Steiners came out. I'm listening to their theme song, and I'm like, I don't know the Michigan University fight song. So I YouTubed it right away, and I'm like, it winks at it quite a bit, but like, I'm like, oh, they're leaning into like, and it just made me think, do they have a partnership with Michigan? And if they do, like, what's the logistics of that?
Well, they might have used that Michigan theme song to start, because now we watch it on Peacock, and they edit that stuff out. So if it's like they don't have the rights now. I also think the college like logos and music and stuff, it's not like Fanatics wasn't around yet. It wasn't big business.
So there wasn't big licensing issues.
So like Steiner can wear his Letterman's jacket or whatever, nobody gave a shit. So that backstage segment led right into our next match. It's the Steiners, the newly signed Steiner brothers against the Bloodline.
A young Rikishi.
It is, but the Bloodline. Rikishi, Samu, and Fatu, the head shrinkers, with wonderful racist name
with Afa.
With Afa, Afa, who's also a part of the Bloodline, in case you were wondering. The head shrinkers, both born and raised in San Francisco, by the way. So a lot of head shrinking happening in San Fran.
Yeah.
Amazingly, these two, Samu and Fatu. And I couldn't believe it watching it even after I looked it up. 27 and 28 years old at this time.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But they don't look it. This by far was my favorite match on the show.
This was a very good match.
I think about 20 seconds in, they just decided, okay, we're just going to fucking shoot fight.
Right.
And they tried to kill each other.
Yeah.
Like for the next, and it was awesome. It was like sometimes like the laying it in stiff, the kind of work shoot stuff can go really weird.
Yeah.
Like Charlotte and Becky that one time, I think it was.
See, I don't even remember it because it was so unmemorable.
But this was just like, let's kill each other, but let's do it in the most entertaining possible way.
All big boys. Like,
yeah.
It was just like, this was meat before meat.
Well, Rick Steiner looks like his body. Rick Steiner looks like an orangutan. Like, you know how they're like, because all these guys are muscly.
Yeah.
But Rick Steiner's got that kind of muscle that looks like it's like way harder than everyone else's muscle.
Sure.
Like if you touched him with your finger, it would feel like you're touching like a primate.
Right.
Like it's where it's all like just stone. I've never seen a dude built. Even his son is not like him. No. I don't know how you get that physique, but he looks like he'd be like the hardest man I've ever seen in my life.
I see you have other intentions with Rick Steiner. The hardest man you'll ever meet.
If I did go in that direction, it definitely wouldn't be with Rick Steiner. I don't think he's likely a gentle lover. So,
but he's got a nickname.
No, thank you.
He's the dog-faced gremlin.
Gremlin.
That's fun. I like that they kept calling clotheslines Steiner liners.
The Steiner lines, yeah,
which was awesome.
And they were fucking like laying in brutal clotheslines.
I also really liked the spot where both of the Steiners were up on the same turnbuckle, jumped off, and both did diving Steiner liners from the top. Same turnbuckle. I never saw that before.
Yeah,
and I haven't seen it since.
Scott Steiner. It's 1993. Like. Yeah. We're used to watching Brutus the Barber and shit, and Scott Steiner's out there at like 275 doing like all these like Tiger Driver based backbreakers and shit. People must have thought he was from another planet.
Yeah,
that dude was insane,
absolute
for
freak.
This era.
Which was unfortunate because they tried to kill him halfway through the match.
Oh yeah. Well, they tried. Yeah, all of them like had a near-death experience. Scott's was the worst when Samu just like picked him up.
He did
and decided
he tried to do a flapjack and then just.
Oh no, he tried to throw him under. He pretended he was going to do a flapjack.
Dumped him on his goddamn head, like
over the top rope onto his head.
It's like a frame is missing because like you don't see like he's being held in one frame and then he's just not there anymore.
I said audibly, "Oh my god!" when that happened, and like after that. It was like, okay, now it's really on, and they just tried to beat the fucking shit out of each other. There were the other close to death spot was they put Fatu put Rikishi put Rick Steiner on his shoulders to do like a doomsday device type thing.
This was awesome.
It's a crossbody doomsday device. Rick Steiner like
turned
it into a power slam, kind of, but really he just tried to turn it into driving Fatu's head into the canvas from that position.
Which he should have known, which they reiterated several times in this match. You really can't do much damage to a head shrinker's skull. They
mentioned that a few times in commentary.
These head shrinkers, they're the way they're fired up is to have their heads slammed together. Afa had a little pep talk with them, and he slammed their heads together. And then they were all like fired up again. And then the Steiners tried to hit him a couple times in the head, and they paid severely for it.
I was going to say that the talking about the like Samoans having hard heads thing, it was racist before the match, but like after the match, I kind of think the Samoans and the Steiners just do have way harder heads than normal human beings.
They might,
because they were dropped on those heads 6-7 times in this game. Awesome match.
They did a cool spot with it where Rick Steiner got the hot tag, and he's a house of fire.
It seemed like they just agreed. They weren't even like angry with each other, but it seemed like they, after the head dumping Scotty Steiner on the top of his head spot, they were just like, all right, well, let's just agree to fight and see who wins this. Like the rest of the way.
So the hot tag was Rick Steiner's fighting everybody. He's punching, and then he takes the two head shrinkers and he grabs their heads and he's going to do a double noggin knocker.
Yeah.
And then he does it, and then they no-sell it, which, I mean, I'm always harping on continuity. Character-wise, they played it perfectly.
Sure.
They always played that so well. But
this was like, I don't know why people don't talk about this match more. It was awesome.
It was a really fun match, and there were a couple. Did you catch all the commentary that was in?
This is actually where this was the match where Heenan really goes in on JR about Oklahoma when he was like, asking him if it's a suburb, and
he said, so this is where Jim Ross graced us with the term slobber knocker.
Yeah.
And he said,
and I don't remember him saying that in any of the like the WCW stuff from the era.
He might have.
So I think he introduced it for WWF.
Could have. He said, back in Oklahoma, they call this match, a match like this a slobber knocker. And Heenan goes, I thought that's what they called the waitress at the Tip Top Cafe in downtown Tulsa. The Tip Top Cafe in downtown Tulsa. That's just fun wordplay. Heenan also had an awesome line where he goes, who cares about high school sports? And then Jim Ross goes, college sports. And then Heenan goes, same difference, only 4-year difference. You don't get any cash for it, just a bunch of little kids. And Savage goes, Ross, we haven't got time to educate Heenan. Give it up. He was just on fire the entire time.
The whole show.
He also said at some point they were talking about, they did, again, they mentioned the sensational Sherry being attacked by Luna Vachon in the first aid area, and Heenan goes, I'd go back there to find out what happened, but that camel's back there.
Tying it in.
He just kept it.
Bobby Heenan is like a national treasure, man. Yeah. I think we forgot to mention this. It's another spot I didn't want to forget because what the fuck?
Yeah.
Scott Steiner does an over-the-head belly-to-belly suplex to Rikishi.
Yeah.
A 300-pound man. He wasn't as big as Rikishi yet.
Yeah.
But he's 300 pounds.
And he drops him square on his goddamn head.
Yeah. Like, over the head, belly-to-belly.
And there was no, if there is any, so if they do a belly-to-belly or any kind of suplex where the head is the first point of contact, the crowd not only reacts hard, the commentators are reacting hard. Everybody reacted here as if this just like they were shaking hands.
Run of the mill. These guys are trying to kill each other for like 14 minutes, whatever it was.
And
one of my favorite matches, I think, now of all time.
Yeah, it was very good. I really enjoyed it.
Steiner's one with a Frankensteiner, which no matter how many times I see it, it's like
it's way better than a Hurricane Rana.
Yeah, it is
because he jumps way before
285 too. But yeah,
way before. I don't remember which head shrinker it was. Gets to him. And he just stays in the air.
I don't know if the definitive thing is this or not, but I always considered the Frankensteiner where when you backflip, it's like a straight backflip, and a Hurricane Rana generally is you're going off to the side a little bit. But like the Frankensteiner is way harder to do because and it's way more dangerous because you have to go straight backwards.
I think it was the Frankensteiner until Rey Mysterio came around, and now
it might who knows? It might have been in CMLL in 1970.
But they like the word Hurricane Rana has kind of usurped the word Frankensteiner. Like no one, Corey Graves has never said the word.
Once in a while, in AEW, if someone does do that, the straight back one, the commentary crew does call it a Frankensteiner.
Well,
but
we'll leave it to
there's
Excalibur.
Very few people that do it that way. Right. So like,
Excalibur
calls everything exactly
where you
right.
jump way ahead of time.
Yeah.
I don't recall seeing it, and I know that because when he did it, when Scott Steiner jumped and did it in this match, I don't remember seeing that since I saw this. Like it just unlocked memories of childhood. I'm like, no one does that anymore.
No Steiner screwdriver, unfortunately. Here, the most dangerous goddamn I've ever seen.
Which Brian Cage now does.
Yeah, he does like the claw or whatever.
He does the most protected version.
It's way more protected. Yeah, which good. It's still super hard. But yeah, Steiner's win here.
Great match.
Yeah, it's my favorite match of the show. Like I said, one of favorite of all time. Mean Gene again. Throw it back to Mean Gene, who's got Doink.
Did you notice the statue behind him?
The one that they kept saying was Julius Caesar, who it absolutely was not Julius Caesar.
Who was it supposed to be?
It was 100% Hercules. They just kept calling it Julius Caesar because Mean Gene's an idiot. But yeah, Doink had colored the statue of what they call Julius Caesar. Oh, he desecrates Julius Caesar. It's not Julius Caesar. Yeah. Like, he's got a very famous and very specific bust statue. Caesar doesn't have a beard.
They had
it's like a Hercules.
You're saying the bust was former WWF superstar Hercules?
It may as well have been. Yeah. Like pre-roids Hercules. No chain though.
There was a pre-roids Hercules? I feel like that guy was puffy.
He was a child, probably.
No, he came out of the womb like that. Just good genetics.
Doink, it was such a
perfect.
I don't want to miss the opportunity, but it could have been so awesome.
It was amazing.
Such a great character.
Yeah,
I know that Matt Osborne didn't like playing him. But then he leaned into it so well that it was I feel like if Doink would have not gotten the personal demons issue thing as heavy as he did, and he could have been a great Attitude Era villain.
Doink could have been one of the greatest characters in wrestling history.
Absolutely.
And it already kind of was.
It was just so short-lived.
It was very short-lived, and I don't know. It was just like a dark, they got
great look.
The presentation was correct. They got the music right.
I wouldn't change a thing about the way it looks. And the music was the dark.
Where
and then goes into the circusy thing.
Yeah.
And Matt Osborne is a believable like a bad motherfucker too.
Yeah.
He looks like a real ass kicker.
Yeah. It's a good worker. Great worker.
Well, that stood out as they went from this backstage segment. They went into the next match.
Yeah.
Which is Doink against the Hawaiian iteration of Crush.
Yeah.
Which I'm interested in going back and seeing how they transitioned from Crush, the like dominatrix wearing demolition guy, to Crush, the Hawaiian with like a super heavy Hawaiian accent out of nowhere. He definitely did not have with demolition.
He was Kona Crush for a while.
Yeah,
remember
I think
that?
he was Kona Crush here. I thought. I think I wrote down Kona Crush, but that could just be because
they kept saying he was from like Kona. And in case you didn't know, the back of his tights had a nice Hawaiian sunset on it.
Yes, his whole outfit looked like it was sponsored by Starburst. It was just all these Starburst colors. It's the most 90s bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
And he didn't have the fire he should have because
he's a dog shit wrestler.
Well,
I felt bad for Doink.
One of my notes is Crush sucks and Doink is great. But prior to this, I don't know, on whatever show they were airing this on, Doink, they did a cool thing where Doink faked having his arm in a cast.
Yeah,
and then like
they did a little recap for that.
Yeah, he made peace with Crush. Once Crush turns around, Doink takes his entire arm up. And it's like a fake casted arm, and he beats up Crush with it. That's brilliant.
And Crush is very believably a dumbass, too. Yeah. So, like, it works. I was just watching this match, I just kept thinking, if this, like, were to break out, Doink would beat the fucking shit out of this guy. Well, he's giant, but he looks just awkward on athletics.
Right.
And Doink looks like a murderer.
Yes,
like
it was just
like you could in real life.
I don't remember much of the match. Admittedly,
yeah,
I think I was jumping 10 seconds ahead a lot in this match.
Yeah, Crush can't contribute a lot to these matches.
Never to any match in his history of his career.
Is he a Hogan guy or something? He was like employed for 15 years.
He fought Macho Man the
like
next year at
Tamina,
WrestleMania.
for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
They can't shake
no
him.
one is Mina.
He's
then
never been
Crush
good, like anything.
He got dumped on his fucking head.
He did.
And I think he was out for a little while because it was the most unprotected pile driver I think I've ever seen. And I rewound it a couple times. Doink gets him up in a pile driver and slowly sits down. And I'm looking for Crush's elbows to brace his fall or anything. And nothing. It's just sit down, stuck, slow pile driver. I said that so clunkily, but so was the damn move. And Crush is not the same after this for the rest of the match.
Yeah. I think
he was out.
Back then they would have said his bell got rung.
Yeah.
These days they would say concussion protocol.
Absolutely.
Please, immediately. Do you remember? Like I looked this up during that just because I was loving Doink so much watching it, especially once his makeup starts coming off. That's fucking such a cool badass look.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a precursor to, and I don't care if they say it isn't. Joker, Heath Ledger Joker got that shit from Doink.
They did it
because
in the movie. But his makeup was all like,
but I like
same visual.
I've never heard them say that was like an inspiration. It definitely was because it's just exactly Doink after a long match.
I think the comic book community would be greatly damaged reputation-wise if they admit that they get ideas from professional wrestling.
Yeah, everybody fucking for all our lives is like have been afraid to admit that they get stuff from pro wrestling. But they do. Like, we see it.
I said it as a joke.
We're just
that
stuck
the comic book community. Would be...
I'm sorry. I was thinking movies. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're talking about.
Well, actually, that was not from Doink.
Yeah, Venn diagram is probably just one circle with the comic book and wrestling fandom communities.
We do not watch professional wrestling.
They're actually somehow more misogynist than 1993 Vince McMahon. Like, let's draw every woman with the giantest titties that have ever existed and
the most unrealistic body proportions. And
so Matt Osborne, the guy that portrayed Doink, the reason that we're saying it was a shame and kind of a lost opportunity, he was only around for a little bit of time, is because he got fired, and he blames Road Warrior Animal. He said that Animal ratted him out for smoking weed in a hotel, but in the same interview, he talks about how said weed he was smoking, he was doing in the lobby and in the hallway of the hotel. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Animal had to rat about. No. It was probably just everybody else that saw him do that, and probably management that was there as well.
I can't imagine that's what did it, because I've seen videos
last straw
of way worse things happening on camera. But
Doink did worse shit.
Yeah.
But that's the thing he says was the thing that got him booted.
Just a tremendous character. Like, so fun. And they, like, tried to take another swing at it with Bray Wyatt. And, like, not the same by any means, but, like, I think you can't do it anymore since the Joker thing.
It was better also, like, Doink, it was more...
way ahead of its time.
And it was, like, it was more subtle.
Yeah.
Which made it way scarier.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't we're putting evil clown makeup on.
Yeah.
We're just putting clown makeup on a guy, like good clown makeup, but just clown makeup.
Yeah.
He's behaving evil. He's kind of got the 5 o'clock shadow gross.
And that 3 mile stare, like just kind of look into the middle distance.
It's way scarier when like regular clown makeup is starting to come off than like if you try to paint it all scary.
Right.
It just worked a million times better.
Right.
This, Heenan is amazing too. The match ended in, second Doink.
Well, he kept trying to.
The guy from
Doink kept trying to go under the ring for some reason,
Yeah.
and they're trying to. Even watching, you're like, if you don't remember exactly what happened, you're like, the fuck's he doing under the? Like, is he gonna pull out like a fun clown object? But there was
Macho Man had a bunch of suggestions that were all just nonsense. You try to get on a plane. Like, what the hell are you talking about, Macho? I could hear Bobby Heenan rolling his eyes.
Yeah. But yes, as you said, there was a second Doink.
Yeah. And the second Doink that came out and helped him cheat, like, snuck out, didn't have to sneak out because the ref was unconscious at this time.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are they being sneaky? The ref is completely out. And second Doink, they do like the mime thing.
Like the mirror thing?
Yeah, real Doink and other guy Doink.
Do you know who the other Doink was?
I do not. I've like read.
It was Skinner.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. Skinner's the one that pitched the idea, which is why they did it. He's like, I could put makeup on and be another Doink.
He was not as good as Doink. It's real Doink.
No, nobody was as good as real Doink. Maybe Dink.
Dink was a cool
Dink,
addition.
Wink, and Pink were okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they two Doinks cheat to beat Crush after he fails to the cranium crush. He tries to put that move on. Is that the worst move in the history of wrestling?
Yeah.
It's just so lame looking.
Yeah.
And he's not big. Like, he's tall, but he's not big and ripped like a lot of these guys were in this era. So it doesn't look like it would hurt in the slightest.
Do like a Boston Crab or like
anything. Retire. That's the main thing you should do.
You should retire.
He should have retired about 3 years prior to this.
Yeah. He did have the best haircut on the show, though. Said nobody.
Like flowing mullet.
He just got off. He just got done surfing, brother.
I'm brother. I thought you were a fucking Demolition. What the hell happened? It's like when Kofi lost his Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
Heenan, great here. When the two Doinks are out, they're like, "Oh, this is," Jim Ross, you can't. This is a travesty, yada yada. And Heenan's like, "Oh no, it was an illusion." He's like a brilliant magician. He's like David Copperfield. It's an illusion. Like, it's just two guys came out, and Heenan is absolutely going full bore selling them.
Right.
Like, oh, it's somehow an illusion. It was a hologram or something.
Savage got up too. It might have been later in the show. I feel like it might have been around this time. But Savage stands up and like gets in Heenan's face, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like, it wasn't an illusion.
There were a few times. I was going to mention this later, but I may as well now.
Yeah.
So Macho Man Randy Savage does not understand how give and take is supposed to go with a heel and face announced. Because Heenan, throughout this entire show, kept like setting him up, saying some kind of heely thing. And then normally your babyface guy would be like, "Oh, shut your mouth, you weasel."
Yes.
But Macho Man was like, "Fucking I'm going to fucking kill you, you stupid piece of shit." Like, way too hard. And it was then no longer like fun, whimsical back and forth. It was like, oh, Jesus Christ, that Coke Fiend is going to kill Bobby Heenan.
Yeah.
Like, it happened like 5 different times on this show. Like, Macho Man, relax.
And then Jim,
piece of shit, I hate you.
Meanwhile, Jim Ross is telling us what everybody's 40-yard dash was.
Yeah. Jim Ross was definitely doing like the tail of the tape.
There were 2 Doinks. No, there weren't. Crush. Nope. See, I should have just shut up. Sometimes you got to just take the joke and not add on it.
I can always edit it.
No, leave it in because this is a lesson. I need to hear this when I listen back. This is me talking to my future self. Hey, stupid. Stop mining for gold once you fucking hit the ore.
You keep taking swings. they're not always going to.
No.
I was going to knock them out of the park.
That's okay.
But more swings the better.
More
As
swings
Chris Jericho has very clearly taught us.
You're comparing me to Chris Jericho?
No, I'm telling you that Chris Jericho has showed us that the best policy is clearly to just take as many swings as you can.
Well, it's funny you mention that
His
because
hit rate is way lower than yours.
I'm currently broadcasting as an identification of a younger version of myself. I'm doing nothing different, though.
Yeah,
much like Chris Jericho.
So match ends for Doink.
This was my favorite part of the
Bell
show.
rings, and then Bill Alfonso's out. Is that with Bill?
Nope.
ECW's own Bill Alfonso coming out, and like for no reason, because he came out and like telling the other ref what actually happened, but then they just kept arguing all the way back.
Oh, he
nothing
was
changed.
the other ref? Is this when they were looking under the ring and shit?
It was after the match was over.
Bill Alfonso was the second
ref. The
main
main
ref
ref was Gorilla Monsoon's son.
Yeah.
That guy.
Steve Monsoon.
Yeah, it's a different something, but Gorilla Monsoon's actual adopted son.
Yeah.
But like match is over. And then Bill Alfonso comes out.
As
another
he
ref.
was the other referee.
The other ref.
Okay.
And he like explains. Normally, you come out and if you're doing a dusty finish, you explain it to the other ref, and then the guy goes, "Oh, really? That's bullshit." Okay, well, ring the bell again, or change the outcome of the match. But Bill Alfonso came out and they just argued with him, and then they just walked back and arguing with each other. Nothing changed. Like, why did they bring Bill Alfonso out?
It's funny you mentioned that. I think I was so annoyed with how this went that I think I skipped past this because I was like, why are they spending so much time after the match trying to assess what happened?
Yeah.
And have another referee come down and be like, no, he's under the ring, because only one of them left, but they're like, oh, he's still under the ring. No,
Very much a conversation that could have been had
totally
off stage.
You could have had it after you showered and been like, hey, we got to talk about what happened.
Talk about 3 years later. It would have made the same amount of difference as it did here. Absolutely. It was like not even a consideration of changing that outcome or whatever.
So there are 3 matches so far, just to keep a counter going. 2 of them are screwy finishes. Yeah. So 66.67% of this pay-per-view is a screwy finish so far.
We then get the
greatest
segment. Douchebag Todd Pettengill.
This was my favorite part of the entire show.
You'd think Baby Peacock would I know they want to try to keep it as real as they can, or keep it as true to form as they can, but maybe going back and editing out Todd Pettengill's racist bullying of fans would probably be wise.
Todd Pettengill goes into the crowd and he's asking everybody, were there 2 doinks? Was it an illusion? Were there 2 doinks? And Todd Pettengill stumbles across 2 photographers that are Japanese. So they're there for their Japanese publications, and he asks,
legitimately Japanese.
Yeah, they're absolutely.
They're like for working for the Japanese version of Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
And they clearly did not tell them ahead of time that they were going to do this.
Very uncomfortable.
So Todd Pettengill goes up to him and he asks the photographers, "Were there 2 doinks? Were there 2 doinks?" There are 2 of them. The first photographer says Yokozuna. He just kept saying Yokozuna, and then Todd Pettengill goes to the second one. And he just starts laughing like a maniac.
Which a lot of people do when they're very nervous. Yeah, which is what was happening here.
The laugh was obnoxious. And then Todd Pettengill goes back to the first one, and then he says, Las Vegas #1.
Yeah.
And then Todd Pettengill just starts saying Yokozuna. And they both go,
Yokozuna.
I'm not going to even attempt to do any impression of this. It is my favorite bit of comedy that I've seen in wrestling in so long.
So Todd Pettengill's history, he was a shock jock, like a Stern ripoff guy.
He was
in
before
New York.
And long after too. After he was dead. Into the teens.
I was hoping he got run over by a steamroller or something after. But yeah, so talking is his forte, and they were they wanted him to be the edgy dude, obviously. But he's just he's poochy. He's a douchebag. Every time he is on screen is very grating to me. I want to physically fight the man.
Yeah.
And then also, he's like a radio jock. His job is to talk. He only has 3 small segments. He only has to knock out 4 lines. But the way he threw it back to the main announce crew here was, I've been drenched with beer, drenched with soda, but I've never had a better time in wide life.
Oh.
Is what he said. Yeah.
Couldn't get what life?
Wide life. But he said it like that. Stumbled, forgot the word my.
Yeah.
And said wide for some reason. He stumbled all over it.
He was nervous.
Nervous.
He was nervous.
That man's never been nervous in his life.
He does write hysterical parody songs. Said no one ever.
Yeah. If he does, none of them were here.
No. No, he did the Slammy Awards, and like he wrote they tried to make him like the Billy Crystal, where he's like making a bunch.
Did he write all those songs from?
Oh hell yeah! Go back and watch those.
Oh, I watched the Slammies. They Wrestle Me, another podcast.
Yeah.
I like the comedy thing. They did a review of the
hang on, back up. There are no other wrestling podcasts. I don't know what you were watching.
It was an award show podcast. They do different award shows.
That's fair. And they covered the Slammies.
They covered the Slammies.
It's all encompassing.
Where I saw Vince McMahon grate in his teeth because he was so coked out of his mind. I'll send that to you.
Coca-Cola out of his mind.
Oh no, it was cocaine. It was as cocaine as it can be.
Working. I'm trying to not work as blue. Coca-Cola, Coke Zero.
So after the Pettengill nonsense, we get Razor Ramon versus Bob Backlund. It's just the strangest matchup I've ever seen in my life.
I don't get it.
Razor, like that dude, I am by politics or whatever, but that dude should have been the top star in all of wrestling for about 10 years.
He looked so
good.
His
look is incredible. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, it's the best looking wrestler I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's like true 6'7", chiseled always.
Yeah.
Like super handsome, always like groomed perfectly,
right.
And he looks like a bad motherfucker.
Great worker, great unique moveset,
incredible
great
wrestler,
character,
can do everything. They didn't have him do all of the stuff he's capable of doing in WWF, but I've seen him like stuff from Japan or whatever, and he's like doing modern day stuff in like
to be
the late
fair,
80s.
Hogan went to Japan and like chain wrestle.
He could do like drop kicks and stuff.
Like you watch that and you're like, is this AI?
But Razor, like the only time we really got an inkling of the stuff that the physical stuff he could have done were he allowed to was when he like sold that stunner from Austin, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh Jesus, he got like a 40-inch vertical.
It was the best sell of a Stone Cold Stunner I've ever seen.
But this match, I mean, maybe I was looking. Oh yeah, we talked about it a little bit. About Bob Backlund is 43 here.
43 years old. It's his also first WrestleMania ever.
Oh yeah, they did say that too.
Makes sense of that.
Oh, he's like the champ for 9 years or something.
Right. And he looks like he stepped out of a DeLorean here. And
never seen the inside of a tanning bed.
No, not at all. It was weird. He also I had to go really far back in wrestling archives. This was the first time he was ever pinned in WWF. It was also the first time he was ever pinned in WWF.
No shit. How did he lose to the Sheik?
Submission, or that's when they threw in the towel.
Oh, that's right. It was the tie. Yeah, Jesus.
He never got, and mind you, I'm going off of what I read. Just
I remember
of the available
It was
data.
Definitely the towel there.
And the way he was pinned was in the most bullshit way.
So, like, but okay, the match. We don't have to talk about this very long because not much happened.
It's a 3-minute match.
Bob Backlund fucking beats the shit out of Razor. Bob Backlund's like 5'8", white pasty dude. He's wrestling this Adonis, who he absolutely dominates for like 4 minutes. Razor gets zero offense in. Right. And then Razor like does a small package out of nowhere after not doing any offense. Like even right before the small package, zero damage to Bob Backlund.
Right,
small package, that's it.
And that's it.
It was the end of the match.
And that is one of your longest reigning world champions in the history of your company.
Yeah,
eats a pin for nothing.
Okay, like. And you have him dominate, too.
Right.
So, like, or you can do a thing with that now. Just lose. Like, he should lose to Razor. Razor's like an up-and-coming star. And like I just said, he should have been in the top of the... If it weren't for, like, Hogan and politics or whatever, like, that dude would have been at the top of every card in any company anywhere. So, like, yeah, you want to make him look strong instead of your, like, outgoing Backlund guy. But, like, yeah,
why
if you're gonna do the beatdown that they did, have him win then. Like,
also, don't have him on the show.
No, absolutely
not.
I
was just mentioning, like, okay, of the 40 people that wrestled in WrestleMania 8, there were 13 that made it. I'm sure the Bushwhackers were available, the Beverly Brothers, the Genius, Jake the Snake Roberts, Roddy Piper, Big Boss Man, Virgil Sargent.
Still with them, right? Like at this time?
I'm not sure about the contract stuff, but I feel like he had to have been. Fucking Owen Hart, Skinner, take the mace.
Well, Skinner was on the show.
He was still under the ring. Just bring him back up.
The only thing I can see about
like quick shower,
putting these two in the ring together, I understand because you get the visual of like 6'7" tanned Adonis versus like little pasty guy, but then you had the little pasty guy beat the shit out of the Adonis for the entirety of the match.
It just. Who came out looking better at the end? Nobody.
It was
a nothing burger.
Thinking, why isn't Razor Ramon beating the shit out of this guy?
Also, this was they cut a match, and this was on the show.
Oh boy,
you know what I mean? Like they cut Tito Santana from the show.
So politicky.
Not Tito Santana. They cut Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah, Bam Bam.
Have
Hall of Famer, badass.
Have Razor fight Bam Bam like they did in the
One of my
goddamn
favorite McFoley matches.
Wasn't it a King of the Ring match? Razor and Bam Bam. I feel like it might
feels
have been.
like it is. It was.
Yeah, Bam Bam.
I definitely used those two characters in the WrestleMania arcade game.
Also, too, next year. Oh no, that's in 2 years. I was gonna say Bam Bam Bigelow is gonna headline the goddamn pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So like, and he's off the card completely. But that happens a lot, as we just said. 40 wrestlers down to whatever.
It's Vince too. It's Vince.
Yeah, down to 13. But no, this was bananas. This was like a. I need to see how the controllers work in my video game. Let's get the two most random fucking people in the ring together.
And play it out that way too.
Yeah. Oh, I know how to. Okay,
except the NPC caught you in a small package somehow at the very end.
Absolutely. It was Heenan again. Had some great lines. Opie has returned, which made me laugh. And then also too, they were peppering this in throughout the show. Randy Savage lets the crowd know that earlier in the day there was a WrestleMania brunch, and Lex Luger knocked out Bret Hart. So he had the what was it, like a steel plate in his forearm?
He had a titanium. He had broke his arm, which like. Everybody that's ever had like a bad broken bone, that's what they do. They put a titanium like bone in. So they use that then as an angle, like acting like the titanium bone is the same as like hitting somebody with a baseball bat.
But Bret Hart's your world champion.
Yeah.
And they just casually a few times mention Lex Luger knocked him out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't play into the main event.
On Bret bunch of different ways on this show.
Yeah, a little bit. I just like, and this was like a glaring thing. I'm like, you are about, it's 1990, it's mid 1993. You're about to have these guys pushing for WrestleMania the following year.
Yeah.
And like, you're not, I don't remember this ever being mentioned.
No.
Ever. Like, and this is a very noteworthy thing to mention. If you have one guy that's going to co-main event the WrestleMania with you the following year, be like, hey, you're the reason I lost last year.
Yeah.
By the way, you can negate all the Hulk Hogan bullshit. But if you just said Bret Hart was knocked out earlier in the day,
nobody can negate
it was a feasible, like I'm trying to make fucking Kool-Aid or lemonade here.
No,
Kool-Aid.
You're right. You're a better booker than Vince.
Yeah. But it's just, I couldn't believe it. And not only once, it came up multiple times.
Yeah, it was several times.
Oh, I don't mean to keep harping on it, but I just, what the fuck?
No, you're right. It was not.
What the fuck?
It was ridiculous. It was clearly a note that they had. Make sure you mention this much time.
Oh, Mean Gene was backstage with Money Incorporated next.
Erwin R. Shyster, Mike Rotunda, and Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. I had a question right and when he popped up on screen, popped into my head. Why would the $1 Million Man be friends with the tax guy?
Because he knows he's going to tell him all the tax loops.
But he's not like a crooked tax guy. His character is I'm just a tax guy. I'm like a serious tax guy.
He does. He does go after people because they don't pay their taxes quite a bit. You're right. He's very good at his job.
DiBiase probably wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't.
Be buddy. Yeah. And I also love that. Like, it's just so Vince McMahon. Yeah. That, like, Vince McMahon is pissed at the IRS for auditing him. So his revenge he gets is to create a character that is like an annoying douchebag that is just an IRS guy. Like anybody in the IRS is watching WWF. If it's like, I got him.
He's good for this.
Yeah.
Look at what I did. This is you.
What?
We're kicking you.
Mike Rotunda was like the Steiners. Like, I mean, not nearly as good. He kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But he was like the college.
But he was
athletic guy.
He was Mike Rotunda.
He's Mike Rotunda. Yeah. And it's like, okay, now you're IRS. Now you're a tax man.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the IRS.
I don't know. Now that I'm thinking of it, why did he not come out to the Taxman by the Beatles?
Vince was not going to pay for that.
But just knock it, like just rip it off. He ripped everything else off.
I did know Ted DiBiase was such a good goddamn talker. Like in this promo,
he was so good. I have so much backstory about this match prior to us getting into this match, and it's nothing to do with Hulk Hogan. There was just some facts about this match that I thought were super interesting. Really quickly, match-wise, they recapped that Money Inc. turned on Jimmy Hart by hitting him, and then they hit Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
If we're going to go into the match, there are like two little tiny other things I wanted to say about the promo itself.
No, we're not going into the match yet.
Oh, okay, cool.
This was all shown during the...
then have at it, my friend.
Yeah. During the interview with Mean Gene, they show... It must have been a Saturday's night or Saturday morning, something or other. I forgot to write down the show.
I love those so much, the Saturday night.
They were great. They were great. Because like if you missed it, you're like, I can't fucking believe I missed it.
I was so excited when like an unexpected Saturday Night Main Event usurped SNL.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy. I get to see two actual non-jobbers wrestling on regular TV.
Tuesday in Texas was like that too. It was like when you're watching MTV and there's a Beavis and Butthead and you're just like, please let there be another one. And like you had no idea.
Absolutely.
They just kept rolling.
Also, people don't really remember, youngsters don't realize also that like all TV wrestling outside of Saturday Night Main Event, which you got like 4 times a year maybe, like it was like primetime was like 2 hour their main show, and it was just like squashes of jobbers, and then the main event of primetime was like Earthquake versus like
Rick Martel.
Yeah, like a low mid-carder.
Yeah.
It was the closest thing to two guys whose names you knew.
Right.
It was the only main event. And it was like, even those were like, okay, this is very clearly Earthquake is going to beat Rick Martel.
There were no stories. There were character progressions.
Yeah.
Or character like maintenance.
They would do promos that would like advance stories, but it was just squash matches.
It was just squash.
And I watched I used to tape those motherfuckers and watch every single one of them.
Absolutely.
I have no idea why, because it was just beatdowns.
That's all we had.
It is all we had.
That's all we had, and we liked it that way.
We loved it. Sorry,
But yeah, no,
continue.
you're fine. So that was fun. Memory lane. Money Incorporated turns on Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart was aligned with Money Incorporated. They turned on him, and then they hit Brutus Beefcake in the face with IRS's briefcase.
In real life, Beefcake.
Which is why he's wearing, kayfabe, why he's wearing a mask during
a titanium mask, which seems like it should probably be illegal.
Yeah, seems a little excessive. Seems a little excessive. So I was just curious about the run of Money Inc. So they were champs for basically a year.
I was gonna say a big part of my memory has Money Inc.
titles,
involved.
but like they don't get. I don't feel like they get a lot of love as like a good tag.
Well, they
team.
don't, because Mike Rotunda is more boring than a Jiffy Lube waiting room. So.
But they were like,
but
like,
DiBiase rules.
So they won the titles on February 7th, 1992. I thought this was funny. Right after they won those titles, that's when Ted DiBiase made the decision to not appear with the $1 million title anymore because he simply didn't want to carry 2 championships around. So it was just out of laziness.
The thing did look heavy. This is like all metal.
Totally. Which I'm sure he was happy to drop it to Virgil.
The title that by far I want the most for my own like personal collection of things.
Well, it costs $1 million. So just, it's the $1 million title.
It's just I wanted it
The
so
price
much.
is in the name. They never appeared on TV prior to winning the tag team titles, which I thought.
By the way, if that thing was diamonds and gold, like it would be way more than $1 million, even in 1993 money.
Well, what does that tell you? That is CZs for days, buddy. The reason they changed the title to Money Inc. is because Hawk of Legion of Doom failed a drug test, which prompted the change.
Drugs? No.
Which is funny that you mentioned earlier that Animal's the one that snitched on somebody else for getting a job with it, but Hawk was a perennial like drug failure or drug test failure.
Ric Flair rape threatener. Did you ever see that promo? I think I linked you. Oh, it's from WCW about '89, where Hawk does his like unhinged cocaine fueled promo, where he very like clearly and succinctly threatens to rape Ric Flair later on that night. Play it for you after the show.
Did he win?
I don't know what happened. It's a promo I've seen a couple of times, and I've seen it posted. I've read it a few times. Like people like, hey, remember the time that Road Warrior Hawk said he was going to rape Ric Flair?
Oh Jesus! Those are actual stakes. You go to there's a crime there. There's a crime there. So Money Inc. won the tag titles because Hawk failed the drug test. Then they lost the tag titles to the Natural Disasters in July of 1992. So they held it from February to July, which is what prompted SummerSlam 92. Money Inc. lost to the Legion of Doom.
I remember that.
At Wembley. It was supposed to be for the tag titles, and then it was just like abruptly changed to a non-title match because there was a house show title change switch. And going back to the thing you were saying earlier, it was like when Lincoln got assassinated and like the rest of the country didn't find out for like 8 months. Like that's how it was with wrestling. Yeah. Like why is this LOD Money Inc. match not for the World Tag Team titles? It's like, by the way, in next month's magazine after the show's over, there was a title change.
They would also occasionally just do title changes on like a random house show
for reasons.
They're like, what the hell?
For reasons.
There's not even footage of it.
No.
But
they lost those they lost the match to LOD at SummerSlam. That was when LOD had the little marionette thing. Paul Ellering came out with Rocco, is that was his name?
Yeah, I think so.
The little puppet.
Paul Ellering, by the way, is the same age right now as he was in '93. I'm not. I think he might be a cyborg,
Sure,
or something.
He's very intimidating looking.
Balls on Vince too. You take the fucking most popular and over tag team in the history of professional wrestling, and decide that when they sign with you, you need to change their name. Which, Road Warriors become the Legion of Doom.
Which is Road Warriors. You have to knock off like comic books again.
Yeah,
that's the second time this has come up. So after the Money Inc. lost to LOD at SummerSlam, they beat the Natural Disasters on October 13th, 1992 to regain the titles. The Steiners won the titles in June of 93 in Rockford, Illinois. So all together,
Steiners did so much in such a very short time in the WWF.
Money Inc. had roughly a 410-day-ish reign.
That's crazy.
As tag team champions. I didn't know shit about them, and I'm like, I feel like they always had gold for a while, so I did kind of a deep dive.
I do picture in my mind them with the tag gold, like a ton.
Yeah.
Mike Rotunda better fucking have thanked Ted DiBiase for carrying his ass through 400 days of a tag title.
Sure.
Right?
Well, he helped him with his taxes, so it was an even trade. Yeah. But that was my my deep dive about Money Incorporated.
I liked it. Natural Disasters, underrated big guy tag
big
team.
time.
They both can go.
Yeah.
And people don't. And everybody always said, "Oh, Earthquake when he was in Japan." No, like his matches were good. They were like for a big giant guy,
credible big guy who could move.
He was a sumo wrestler, like a real champion sumo wrestler in real life too. So he was strong as hell.
Yeah, there's someone on the current roster that is currently big but cannot move, or her splashes don't look too wonderful.
She's not. No Earthquake.
No.
Ended the promo with Money Inc. though. There's the first mention that commentary makes of the Hulk Hogan accident that occurred prior to the because we haven't seen Hogan yet.
No.
So we don't know. So they do mention there was he was in an accident.
They say you
kind of imply that
you think Beefcake's face looks bad. Wait till you see Hogan.
Yeah. So they imply that it was like a car accident or something. In actuality, it was Macho Man Randy Savage punched the fuck out of Hulk Hogan right before the show.
Oh boy, do I have all the theory. But if I did a deep dive on Money Inc., you bet your ass I did a deep dive on this. So the on TV story was Hulk Hogan was working out at the gym the night before and he got attacked. So the implication is that somebody, like if you just write this out logically, that implies somebody was paid to put
a hit.
But not a hit, like just punch him and run away.
But like not a hit, just a punch, but also like the most damaging punch I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
It closes, like even at the mat, like his eye was damn near closed completely.
We'll talk about when he comes out a little bit, but I've never seen anything like it.
The story circulating that Hogan put out was a boating accident. Yeah. And
I remember that. I remember as a kid thinking Hulk Hogan was in a boating accident.
Yeah. He said in his book, I'm paraphrasing, he was on a jet ski that Brutus Beefcake got, and like it was a very fast jet ski. So he wanted to
By the way, Brutus Beefcake's injury was like a parasailing. He got a Meteora basically done to him from a parasailer.
Sure.
It would have been so much better and more on brand if Beefcake's injury was the jet ski injury, because he's the most jet skiing looking motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. Continue.
I'm just grateful he didn't cut himself with those shears that he brings everywhere.
That he sells for $250.
Is that a fact?
It's just garden shears. It's just big garden shears that he wraps
with fancy handles?
Wraps a ribbon around. Sells it for $250 a pop.
Maybe we'll have to get one for the studio because we hate responsible spending. So the official story, paraphrased from Hogan's own book, his jet ski, Hogan flipped over the front of his jet ski, and then the jet ski kept going and hit him in the face right under the eyeball at 40 miles an hour, crushing his orbital bone.
Which, in fairness, the injury looks more like something like that.
40 miles an hour. Like, don't get that number out of your head. And luckily, the stunt guy from Baywatch, who was the third man there, saved his damn life. Which,
and then everybody clapped.
Yeah. I'll be there. And then they all ran in slow motion to safety.
Such a piece of shit.
So I just couldn't get past the 40 mile an hour thing.
Yeah, that would take your head off.
It would take your head clean fucking off. Especially if it was right under your eye. There's enough like momentum there to.
Yeah. It wasn't. By the way, the injury's not under his eye. It's his fucking eyeball.
Right. There was not like a broken orbital bone. Like you can't. Like your eyeball is not, if I'm not mistaken, a broken orbital bone means your eyeball is not able to stay where it's supposed to.
Yeah, it depends how bad the break is, I think. Yeah.
Let's say it's as bad as it would be if you got hit in the face
40 miles an hour.
by a 40 mile an hour.
I don't know. We would have
ski.
to locate the head first before we looked at the orbital bone.
Yeah. Option 3. I wrote option 3 for the story, whichever one you want to believe.
Well, Hogan usually has like 4 or 5 different stories and 4 or 5 different books, and then whatever anything happened.
It's a shell game at that point.
Like he was supposed to be the bassist for Metallica at one time.
God, I wish that was true. I would love to hear him play anything by Metallica.
That's the one legit thing about Hogan. He's a pretty good bass player.
Did you
ever hear the Japanese thing? I like some YouTube guy did a deep dive, and they found some thing where he actually was a, I forget what they call him, like the studio guys that would sit in for other bands when they needed it. So he was like very talented.
In Japan, he was that?
Somebody found a thing that was released only in Japan with Hogan actually playing bass on it.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of complicated stuff, and he was pretty good.
I really like the visual of giant ass Hulk Hogan being a studio session musician.
Session musician is the word I was looking for.
In Japan. Option 3, as Sully said, Macho Man Randy Savage punched him in a bar fight over
he thought he was fucking Miss Elizabeth.
Bruce Pritchard said that Savage was already in Vegas at that point, so that couldn't have happened. So
Bruce Pritchard is very much a company man.
He's but that's
I believe that Macho Man punched Hulk Hogan in the face.
So you know what? Now that I think of it, because I didn't get to watch this match comfortably, I had to like zoom through it. Did he sound pissy on commentary
100%
toward Hogan?
He was like fucking the most passive aggressive I've ever heard him by a million miles.
I didn't think
he says a bunch of stuff too that like you could construe as like, he's talking shit about him here, like, and he's like he's doing his version of babyface announcer the whole show,
right?
But like Hogan's a babyface here, and he just goes like, "Nah, I'm gonna be a heel now. Yeah, fuck this guy."
Okay, I got to go back and actually like. Damn it, I got to watch this match again now?
Oh, dude, like, I watched it, like, twice because it's just such a clusterfuck of random nonsense. Like, when I keep talking about this being a coke-fueled pay-per-view, I'm talking about this match. Yeah. This is the most cocaine-addled thing I've ever seen in my life. And the crowd, too. The crowd's reactions were all like, oh, are they delirious? Or high? What's going on? Right. It was nothing like any wrestling match I've ever seen in my life. When these two first come out, first of all, IRS comes out first. DiBiase looking real fly in his awesome $1 Million Man outfit.
So that white suit was nice.
Yeah, it was dope. Hogan and Beefcake come out. They it looks like they shoot like Agent Orange into the air first,
which was the only poison gas. That was the first pyro wink of the show.
Just orange,
was
red
just a smoke
gas.
Bomb.
Yeah, a smoke bomb, big smoke bomb
in a windy ass venue.
Beefcake out first with a giant, absolutely illegal titanium mask on his face from his shoot parasailing injury Meteora that he ate.
He got hit in the face with a briefcase, and that's why he's wearing a mask.
Get
it right.
And this is at this time is we get our first up close and personal look at Hulk Hogan's wretched face.
It's rough.
His goddamn eyeball, Dave, is black.
It's a different color.
It's black.
Yeah.
It's a black eyeball.
Yeah.
Now, listeners, if you haven't seen this, you may think that I'm either exaggerating or trying to insinuate that the black eye is so bad that like it makes that. No, the part of his eye that normally would be white is like midnight black.
Yeah.
Looks like it's probably leaking something. It's one of the grossest things I've ever seen in my life. He absolutely should not have been performing on this show.
Even if he didn't have a black eyeball, his actual black eye
everything around
terrible.
It absolutely destroyed too.
Yeah.
But his eyeball itself...
It just kicks it up
looked like
50 degrees.
Smelled gangrenous. It looked like if you got close to his face, it would smell gangrenous.
Yeah.
It was so freaking gross. I can't believe he went on TV with that. Every time they cut to him, I was like, oh, God. Oh, why? Oh, take the day off, Hulk. Like, Jesus Christ. It absolutely awful. And that combined with, like, his now, like, this was right post or during the steroid trials, the first ones. So Hulk had to cycle off for a while. So now he's like a big rangy walrus looking, like, sad, skinny. And with the tan, it's, like, even worse somehow. Also, did steroids make you, coming off steroids make you shorter, too? Because billed as 6'7" his whole career. He's the same height as both Macho Man and Brutus Beefcake.
Yeah.
Who are billed as 6'1" and 6'4", respectively.
No, they're not. They're 6'7".
Yeah, apparently.
Get it right.
So, yeah. Hogan looking just absolutely awful here.
The beginning of this match was awesome. And I really don't hate this, and I kind of wish someone did it as a gimmick currently moving forward.
What part?
So Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake come out second, and Money Inc. is in the ring. Backwards, by the way. They are tag team champions. They should be out second.
Yeah,
I don't know. Consistency.
It doesn't work for me, brother.
Hogan must pose.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah. So Hogan's music is playing, the Real American song, and when they get in the ring, Money Inc. attacks them. The music doesn't stop. And then
like the Moxley thing. Maybe the Moxley thing was,
oh my
was a
God,
homage.
Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake clear the ring.
I didn't notice because I was too busy throwing up.
The music still does not stop when they clear the ring. Then Hogan does like his tear the show. Like they finish their entrance after they clear the ring. I fucking loved it. I want someone to do it every time they come out.
This is so coked up. This whole thing is so coked up.
It was fucking awesome. I also don't hate music playing during a match.
No, I liked it, and Moxley did it too.
Yeah.
It's great.
But
it's weird that I didn't notice it, but I really think I was just so thrown by Hogan's awful face in this match.
It was jarring. A lot of punches, rest holds, and body slams.
DiBiase working his ass off. He's so like I've never seen one guy so clearly far and away the best wrestler in a tag team match among all the four. Like DiBiase, just miles better than the other three. It's
100%.
Cool. Ed Leslie, best two jobs in like all of sports into entertainment. Shout outs to us. Stout out shows. Oh, we said the bullpen catcher in baseball because all you do is just catch the guys warming up.
Yeah.
The second best job is to be Ed Leslie because you're Hogan's boy, because that dude never did anything well.
Ed Leslie is the shoot name of
Brutus,
one
the Barber
Brutus
Beefcake.
the Barber Beefcake, who is in fact not a barber or a Brutus.
Or a beefcake, which I have a note on. Why? Why? So, like, okay, so his initial gimmick before he was the barber was just like Brutus Beefcake, like he was a Chippendales dancer or something.
Oh, okay.
So that would imply that he's like a good-looking man.
Yeah.
And in truth, I want to find my notes so I can do it justice.
I see where you're going, and I never thought of this. It's funny.
He's okay. So he's Mr. Sexy Man. Well, just continue. I gotta find. I need to find this because I want to talk about it.
No, you're fine.
Oh, here we go. Ed Leslie's original gimmick. So he's just a beefcake. He used to dress like a Chippendale dancer, and that carried over to the Brutus the Barber Beefcake thing too. So that would imply that he's like sexy, like Rick Rude or something. Like Rick Rude, yes, very sexy man.
Yes.
But Ed Leslie, he looks like a South Florida rest stop cocaine dealer.
He looks like when Bart Simpson flashed forward and he was a stripper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Like real life. What the fuck were they thinking? Trying to tell us this guy was sexy. There's another one of these later in the show and another thing that I need to talk about.
Yeah.
But Brutus Beefcake was never a beefcake, my friend.
No, but like also too, where I thought you were going with this is why I was laughing so hard. Why also a barber?
Yeah, I actually remember how they got there.
Oh, please
it was like
tell.
a gimmick. I don't like the specifics. It was just a cut your hair match. Like was a thing that happened. Used to happen a lot.
Yeah.
But Brutus, I forget who he beat. Yeah. It was for like the IC belt.
Warlord
90 or something.
Yeah.
But then instead of like just it being that match, he decided, I'll just be a barber now too. So he became a Chippendales guy that now would cut everyone's hair.
Right.
Which equals just jobbers because none of the actual talent would ever want their hair cut. So it was absolutely pointless. It's a nonsense gimmick from top to bottom.
The only thing I really loved about that is he got to steal the Running Man quote from the movie, line for line, which was fun. That was fun. That was about it. I don't have any notes on the match.
I got a few.
Aside from once the mask comes off.
So I actually have more notes on this than anything outside of the Steiner match.
Take it away.
So throughout this match, Macho Man really kicks into high gear his efforts to banter with Bobby the Brain, and it is just it's a smearing. He can't hold his own when it comes to banter. Macho Man was not built for this, especially a back and forth with the guy of Heenan's caliber. And I'll touch a little bit more on that in a minute here. But the overarching story that I have for this match is So Hogan and Beefcake, the Mega Maniacs,
The Megamaniacs.
they're the faces, the good guys. Crowd absolutely like nuclear for them. They're over. Everything they do is they're super over.
Yes.
They have Jimmy Hart, like you said, he did turncoat on IRS and the $1 Million Man, so he's in their corner at this time. But they're very clearly supposed to be the babyfaces in this match.
Yep.
So the first thing that happens is, as far as like how this played out, IRS and $1 Million Man get counted out. They're kind of losing, so they get counted out. And Earl Hebner apparently has carte blanche to just
I had to rewind that to
make
make sure
decisions
I heard it right.
mid-match. His Earl Hebner, the referee, just informs the announcer that, now if IRS and the $1 Million Man don't return to the ring, the count out will also cost them their belts, which was not a stipulation prior to the match. They just Earl Hebner changed it willy-nilly for no never explained reason.
Also, he apparently can change it, which
says that Jack Tunney should have had something to say about this.
They just had to say, Jack Tunney has informed us that, shit like that.
No, it was just Earl Hebner. He actually said the referee has just told me.
Yep.
So I'm like, hi, Earl Hebner can make up rules as we go along now, apparently. A note on the match. When I was a kid, the $1 Million Dream was like my favorite move to put on people.
Yeah.
It does absolutely no damage.
No.
But I loved it's fun to put on. And I always wanted to see Taz do a $1 Million Dream Plex back in his ECW days. It would have been a cool move.
Yes.
Probably would have killed somebody, but I'd like to see it. They keep doing close-ups of Hogan's fucking face, and it looks like a cobra bit him on the eyeball. It looks like a horrible infection from a cobra bite on his eyeball. Like somebody, like a
Gotta suck the poison out.
like a warlord in like sub-Saharan Africa was torturing him to like prove a point, and held his eye open while his cobra, injected its venom into his goddamn eyeball.
Well, that's what did happen.
So awful.
He actually crashed the jet ski of a warlord, and that was his punishment.
Yeah. Wait, I don't know what maybe Macho like covered his fist in Damien's, or not Damien, the cobra that bit him, the venom, before he punched Hogan in the face, because I really don't medically understand what's going on with Hogan's eye here. Like,
it's a disaster.
It's horrible.
It's a disaster.
It looks like he's cursed or something. It looks like he was cursed by a witch.
Curse you.
I don't know how he didn't lose his eye, because if you saw somebody on the street with an eye like that, you'd be like, that you're going to have a glass eye by tomorrow. You're losing that fucking thing. Yeah. Your whole eye is black.
Yeah. It's tough.
My favorite Macho Manism of the entire night comes here. I want to do this. I got to do this verbatim because it's wonderful. It is just out of the blue, mid-match. Macho, standing room only. Dig it. Hanging from the rafters. Big pause. Silence. If there were rafters. Big pause. The Roman Coliseum didn't have rafters. Big pause.
Oh, there's more?
But I'll tell you what. They have. Pause. They have columns. They're hanging from the columns. that was Macho.
That's just a fun little way to audition for a part.
He definitely started talking before he knew where he was going with like what he was going to say.
Pulled the old Michael Scott.
From here on out, the babyfaces just fucking cheat their asses off for the remainder of the match. They used like the titanium mask a number of times to just hit their opponents. At one point, there is a like a double count. Hebner's counting to 10 because Hogan and the other guy are both down.
Yeah,
he gets to like 8, and Hogan sits up, but he doesn't get up.
Yeah,
he just sits up, like Undertaker sits up, and Hebner stops the count. I don't know why. And then Hogan never got up at all. He never got to his feet. He crawled over and made the hot tag to Beefcake.
Yeah.
So that should have been a draw, this match. There's no reason that Hebner should have stopped that count.
Yeah.
Both guys were still on the mats, well after the 10 counts. Hebner just decided, sitting up is enough. I guess today, because I'm making rules willy-nilly, I may as well decide to change this rule as well.
Well, they had a ref meeting after the first match, between the first match and this match, and go, hey, he only counted to 8. I got to count to 10. We got to make up those seconds somewhere. So silently, Earl Hebner had to count to 12. So like that, if you could probably count to 12 and make up for it.
Is it what Bill Alfonso was like telling Monsoon's son?
Yeah.
Like, don't forget about the 12 count.
Yeah, lots of like as long as it's an increment of 10, the refs are happy. That's what their whole job is.
Every time
3s and 10s.
Every time these assholes cheat too, the crowd fucking loves it. They're like screaming their asses off. DiBiase and IRS are like doing nothing dastardly. They're just being cheated on, like nonstop. Yeah, my note was who was supposed to be the good guys here. At one point, Hogan just flat out kicks IRS in the balls right in front of Hebner, which evidently also is another rule change that Earl Hebner made today. Totally legal because it was like right in front of his face. My favorite back and forth here was right after that was actually between JR and Heenan. So Hogan kicks IRS in the balls like blatantly. JR being the babyface announcer, Hogan kicks him in the lower abdomen. It's a big pause, and Heenan just goes, lower abdomen? That was bargain basement. And, Hogan then, like almost immediately after the nut shot, grabs the titanium mask and like brains Ted DiBiase and then IRS. Macho Man says here, you're always fighting fire with fire, despite there being no cheating on the other side to this point. It's just a bigger guy beating people with a titanium shield, essentially. The Mega Powers or the Mega Maniacs go to make the pin after they brain Money Inc., but the ref is down because they bumped. They like accidentally ran into the corner. Bumped Hebner, so he's down. So Jimmy Hart.
That was really quick. That bump was fucking stupid.
It was.
So like, DiBiase, I'm sorry, Beefcake has the sleeper, which is his finisher on IRS.
Yeah.
And then from behind, Ted DiBiase double axe handles both of them. Into the ref,
and they just stumble into the ref.
And I can't tell who hit who first, but I am pretty sure Earl Hebner has peripheral vision and saw Ted DiBiase coming. Because the way that
stumbling for another 12 feet to get to him.
Or like felt footsteps of a third guy that wasn't, supposed to be part of it. But yeah, that ref bump really bothered me.
Yeah.
I digress.
And he's like completely unconscious. So their response to this is like, oh, well, we don't want to waste this cheating shit we did to knock these bad guys out. So Jimmy Hart takes off his like jacket and turns it inside out. Because the lining is like pinstriped, so it's like vaguely ref-ish. Puts it on inside out, and then he counts 3. They fucking celebrate like they've won the Super Bowl here, despite the bell didn't ring.
They're
like,
holding the belts.
They're holding the belts up. They're like, this is the cocaine. I'm telling you. Music's playing. They're like celebrating like it's the biggest thing in the world. Danny Davis, another referee, comes running down and is like, no. You guys lose. You're disqualified. Like fucking obviously, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
That's the right call.
That's the part I didn't get.
You're disqualified.
I didn't get why that team got disqualified.
Hogan and
yeah, I don't get
because they beat the shit out of the other team with a weapon.
Right, but
that's the reason they're unconscious is because they used the titanium thing and knocked them both unconscious.
So was this just a thing in WWF back then that they just had like a ref in the booth like a football game that also can call matches?
I mean, I've seen that like happen, but it's the least ridiculous thing that happened here. I mean, also they could have disqualified him for fucking kicking IRS in the balls before hitting him with the foreign objects too.
That part made no sense.
Like they cheated several times, blatantly. So whatever Danny Davis decided to was the thing that got them disqualified.
Sure,
but like. There's no reason that they should have believed that they won by pinfall. Like, they just used the foreign object, and then, like...
But that's what I'm saying. The ref was down, and, like, that is a wrestling trope. When the ref is down, you get a weapon. And, like, guys have won world titles with that. But, again, this is a testament to how fucking stupid this show was.
It's absolute nonsense.
It's, like, more... I still have no idea how the match ended kind of thing. And when they were celebrating with the belts.
They call it a DQ after the celebration started. Then our great heroes decide to fucking assault Danny Davis.
Almost.
Total.
Almost.
They start to assault him.
And they say, hey, don't do this because you're gonna get suspended if you hit Danny Davis.
Just for doing his job and doing it correctly. Correct. By the way, the crowd's going apeshit when they're like starting to manhandle poor Danny Davis, civilian who's just doing his job. Thank God, IRS saved him. Comes from behind, saving the civilian. Boos for that. We want this 6'7" monster to beat the shit out of this guy for doing his job.
Jimmy Hart took care of it.
So then, after that, they get the upper hand again. So they then get a hold of Danny Davis again. This time, Danny Davis is literally on his knees begging for his life.
Yeah.
And they decide, well, we're not going to murder this man for doing absolutely nothing wrong. We'll just let Jimmy Hart throw him
over the top rope.
The best bump in the match by far is Danny Davis getting tossed like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Crowd's eating it up. Loves every minute of it. I don't understand.
They're about to love him even
more. Up is down, down is up. I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
They're about to love him even more after this bit of nonsense.
Hulkamania, running wild. These fans are sociopaths. They then break into, they steal and break into Mike Rotunda's briefcase because they're fucking total pieces of shit.
Right.
They fire through it. Hulk Hogan finds a brick and acts like it's, look, this bad guy. He didn't do anything with the brick, so fuck you.
Well,
it's just a brick in his fucking briefcase.
Plays into Brutus Beefcake's broken face. But also, too, it's a steel goddamn briefcase.
Exactly.
You didn't need the brick.
Then from the briefcase, they steal what looks to be about $20,000.
Oh, prior to that, they deface federal documents, which they say these are tax forms, and they just throw them away. Yeah. You can't do that. And then they find...
And then gross Hogan, they find 2 stacks of what looks to be about 20 grand. So grand larceny on top of assaulting the ref and, using a weapon to...
I don't know if it's grand larceny if you act a little Robin Hoodish with it.
He kind of did. Some of it.
Some of that money was getting passed out to the crowd.
What should have been most illegal was that fucking dance he did. Hogan also, Hogan already, as we've talked about, looks weird and gross and walrusy because he's all skinny and rangy and he's got this rotten eyeball that looks like an 8-ball. Then when he finds the money, he does this thing where he's trying to motion to the crowd look at all this awesome money. But he does a pelvic thrust dance.
Yeah.
Very off-putting. Yeah. If he wasn't gross enough to look at at this point to begin with, the dance he decided to go with took it to 11. Yeah.
And then they pose for 5 minutes.
So crowd going apeshit still. In total, the Megamaniacs celebrated their DQ loss for 8 straight minutes.
I was off.
It's an 8-minute celebration of losing by disqualification correctly, by the way. Absolutely the right call. They should absolutely have lost. I don't know why anyone cheered for them at this point.
Hulk Hogan. He's a name. By the way,
he's a bad guy here.
Bam Bam Bigelow versus Kamala was canceled beforehand due to time constraints because they wanted time for Hulk Hogan.
They needed their 8-minute DQ loss celebration to go on for
Christ. In the middle of the damn show. And this is literally the middle of the show.
It's the midpoint.
It's fun for all the wrong reasons. There's a lot to enjoy about it for all the wrong reasons.
I would love all of the ridiculousness. I would find it fun, but Hogan's fucking face is so reprehensible to me. It grossed me out. Well, I like movies like Human Centipede 2 and shit. And I couldn't look at Hulk Hogan's goddamn face.
It was tough. What made it even more criminal was he's not done for the night. And that's the most famous part of the pay-per-view. So this guy, I guess it plays, and if he's being a huge dude, if they turned him heel tonight, it would have made so much sense. And he would have probably had a decent run from it. But they gave him to the other company and they figured it out.
It did turn him heel in a lot of wrestling fans' hearts because everybody could tell.
But not canonically.
No. But a lot of people could tell, myself included, when I was 12 or whatever, 13, that the way that this show ends and the way what Hogan does, even though you don't know the story, you can tell that something fucking weird is happening here. Yeah. Something's not right here.
Right.
And that bled through, I think, even to Hogan's WCW days when he wasn't as over because people were like, "That was weird shit that you did there. We don't know what, but it was not cool."
Right.
And it was very clear that it was not cool.
Yeah.
At this point in the show is where we got the fucking piece of shit Todd Pettengill interviewing Natalie Cole, who was just there in attendance. He's pestering her because he keeps asking her questions and she keeps increasingly each answer she is giving is more curt and get this cracker out of my face, please.
All while Hulk Hogan's Real American theme song is playing.
It's still playing the whole time. Yeah.
Like they couldn't even give her the decency of like, your father's Nat King Cole.
The 8 minutes.
You're also Natalie Cole. She was huge at the time. Sorry.
So it was long. No, you're good. The 8 minutes actually was. I was short there because I cut it off when the cameras came off. You're right. The music continued to play while they were interviewing Natalie Cole, and then subsequently the CEO of Caesars.
Was this the first time Hulk Hogan was in the middle of a card? Like the way this match ended and like the way the music went, that's end of show production.
Yeah.
Like, did they even fucking have a plan of how to like, oh, by the way, we have to dial this back and we have half a show left to do?
Well, obviously, there was nobody with the balls to tell Hulk Hogan, you got to dial it back.
Yeah.
But it didn't make any sense. And you're right. It killed all momentum that the show had because you're doing like a house show end of night celebration.
Right. Like, it's weird
mid-show. But I think you're right. I don't think I ever remember seeing Hogan mid-card.
No, and like the fact that Lex Luger versus Mr. Perfect was the death spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those two, like right afterwards, but not before. Todd Pettengill also interviews a guy that has definitely seen some shit.
Oh, absolutely.
The CEO of Caesar's Palace.
Maybe Nazi.
who cuts the best promo of the entire show. You could tell he has pitched Caesar's Palace and why you should visit and all the above. It was just like there was like fear. Like, I don't know, like that's a guy people fear.
Yes. There was also an undercurrent of like, come here so you can do drugs and have sex with prostitutes. He wasn't saying it, but like it was clearly the undercurrent. He was like practically winking at the camera.
Well, there's that. There's that. Also, too, Caesar's Palace has the best coffee I've ever had in my life. I did a long Google search on what coffee they serve. It's Dewey Egberts, in case you want to buy a bag yourself.
So, Dave, the best coffee I ever had in my life
is Dewey Egberts.
Was in Siena, Italy.
Yeah. That wasn't was it drip coffee?
It was not drip.
There you go. That's
cappuccino.
Best drip. Yeah. I also went to Europe. It's amazing coffee. But like the best drip coffee I ever had that I can purchase for my own home is I called Caesar's Palace and I said, "Hey, what kind of coffee do you have at your buffet?"
Good goddamn.
It was fucking amazing. Unofficial sponsor of the what are we calling this? Throwback third?
I forget.
Throwback something or other. Unofficial sponsor.
Turnbuckle Time Machine.
Turnbuckle Time Machine. I digress. Next, Mean Gene Okerlund was backstage with
one of my favorite segments.
This is how you one take, by the way. Even like it fucked up.
Well, before like the perfect goes off the rails, I don't know if you noticed, but Mean Gene 2 times in a row says athletic. Throws an extra syllable in the word athletic, and I thought it was just like him misspeaking, but he says it twice. He's Mr. Perfect, the most athletic wrestler on the card. Mr. Perfect, why are you so athletic?
It's more sonically pleasing.
That's
why they say the WW.
I think Mean Gene was just so drunk at this point that he forgot how to.
Oh, his outtakes are pure comedy gold every single time.
Famously the biggest drinker like in the history of professional
was he
wrestling
really?
too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Occasionally they'll make jokes. Like we didn't catch it when we were little kids, but like I remember one of these shows that I was watching. Somebody said, "Oh, there's a bar in the ring." They like had a thing set up, and Heenan was like, "Oh, it can't be a real bar because Okerlund's not sitting at it."
That's pretty funny.
Mr. Perfect, as I think you were about to allude to, the most ironical, hilarious faux pas that ended the best way possible. I have it verbatim, but if you would like to,
oh no, go ahead. I only have the one line, but by all means, if you have more.
So Mr. Perfect, obviously, he's a newly babyface. Mr. Perfect, his gimmick is that he's perfect at everything, which he reiterates. This is the promo that he does. Mr. Perfect, this is perfect talking. Mr. Perfect is exactly what he says he is. Perfect. Then, in the next breath, Mr. Perfect gets super tongue-tied trying to say the narcissist Lex Luger. And after 3 times coming out the exorcist Lark, he basically just goes, fuck it, watch what happens. He storms off. And it was somehow cool, like the way that he did it.
That is how you take note, Claudio Casagrande. That is how you one take and come out looking good. I loved it.
But I'll always consider Luger now the Lexorcist Lark.
The Lexorcist Lark Luger. I don't know if he said he didn't say Luger, right? Just
no,
Lexorcist
he cut it off like all 3 times. The Lexorcist Lark. The Lexorcist Lark. God damn it. Hey, fuck it. Watch it. Watch what happens.
Triple L.
Watch what happens out there. So then we get the match. But prior to the match, it's the Larcist Lex or the Lexorcist Lark versus Mr. Perfect. Luger comes out first. He's flanked by 4 teenage girls in the smallest thong string bikinis I've ever seen in my life.
That was surprising. Maybe showgirls, like they were very comfortable.
They were children too. They were very young.
They were young,
18 years old. I'm thinking. By the way, every one of them, as they were walking to the ring, were groped by children. Every one of them groped multiple parts of their bodies by children. I mean, these women were essentially naked. And then as they got to the ring and started going up the ring stairs, the WWF cameraman decided that he was going to take it upon himself to try to give them all a colonoscopy with the lens of his camera.
It was an interesting choice.
It was a right up the buttholes of these young ladies.
Really sold the story of the match.
So then they get in the ring, and then they all 4 of these young ladies have to hold up mirrors. Because it's the narcissist, that's his thing. He wants to, pose, look in the mirrors, and they're all there for him. So they hold up the mirrors. The mirrors all have their own pyro, which starts to go off on the top. And right as that occurred, it was like a sparkler kind of pyro. So it's just a constant spray of sparkles. A gale force wind comes ripping through the stadium right at this time, and these poor girls are holding up their mirrors, shooting flame, and the flame is just pelting their naked bodies the entire time. Luger is doing his double bicep to the crowd. I felt terrible for these girls.
I tell you what, I like that. That's another thing. I like that entrance. That a guy is just surrounded with mirrors.
I do too. In theory.
Oh, in theory.
The way that it played out was like girls getting their vaginas and backsides touched by 7-year-old boys, and then getting burned in the ring. Man, after being also assaulted, kind of, by the cameraman.
Sure,
but yeah, I agree. Like the presentation, it's great. It's cool.
Yeah. The
only problem, and there's another note, is that Lex Luger is the narcissist. Supposed to be because his looks. I know he's like a big chiseled guy, but. Lex Luger looks like a fucking boglin.
Yeah, but
he is the boglinest ass looking dude I've ever seen in my life.
Consider WWF at the time, what they were assigning to who.
We just saw Razor Ramon that's an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, and
now we get the absolute boglin telling me that he's a sexy boy.
But he got a 3-minute match that was nothing. Clearly they had different values.
I mean, there are handsome people on the roster.
Beauty's in the eye
Lex Luger is not one of them.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Also, Vince McMahon loved him and tried to start a bodybuilding federation around him. So.
Yeah, I mean, he is the frame. He's 6'5", super chiseled, one of the best bodies in the history of wrestling.
Yeah,
ugly as fuck.
Well, some people think Mrs. Luger thinks he's very.
He looks
handsome.
like a puppet from fucking like They Live or something like a 1980s slasher movie monster. That's what his face looks like. It looks like it's carved from clay or something. He's a strange looking man.
Well, when you're supposed to be as beautiful as he is, sometimes beauty's difficult to understand when it's on such a high echelon.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Well, then the considerably more handsome Mr. Perfect comes out, and one of the girls gropes the shit out of Mr. Perfect as he's walking into the ring. Go. Which, Perfect. His reaction seemed like that was an off the cuff. This Vegas showgirls just decided to touch me here. That was amusing as well.
Savage had a good line when Luger was coming out, and he goes, "Have you met the Macho Man?" to the girls while they're walking out.
The versions weren't enough for him.
No. Apparently, these two worked a bunch of house shows, and Mr. Perfect had the greatest rib ever. Every night he would pull one tassel off of Lex Luger's trunks to the point where he had like a bald spot. So he would take.
That's great.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, Lex Luger, he's wearing the trunks he usually wears, but he also has a chandelier of tassels going around that sachet when he walks around, so you could see his backside. And during house show loops, they would work the match out for WrestleMania, so Mr. Perfect would pull one off, and then he would put it in his trunks and give it back to him after the match. So he always knew he was turning him off, to the point where he had like 3 or 4 tassels on his entire.
Fucked with so many people, man.
That was so funny.
He was the guy that almost got fucking the bounty murdered by the Dynamite Kid because he kept stealing his shit and then locking his bag and stuff. And then Dynamite Kid had come back to the locker room and go into his Dynamite Kid rage that he always went into. And then Perfect would be the only one there. And Dynamite Kid was like, "Who did this?" And Perfect every time would just say, what's his name? The Mountie guy. They were the Quebecers at the time.
The Rougeau.
Jacques Rougeau. Oh, Jacques did it. And then Dynamite Kid eventually tried to kill Jacques Rougeau. And then they had to not be booked ever together again. And
maybe don't do that to the Dynamite Kid, who's not exactly the most stable of human beings ever. Yeah.
Him and Chris Benoit.
But also Mr. Perfect too. And I tried to find this because I read this in a couple places. Apparently, Mr. Perfect was supposed to call the match, and he forgot. He was locking up with Lex Luger, and he goes, "So what are we doing?"
Is that why it looked all disjointed and weird? Usually, Mr. Perfect, you can watch him wrestle a broom, and it's good. And this was Luger to me looked like he was day 3 of wrestling school.
Luger
or something.
He called the match. That's why,
and he can't. He's not built for that.
I don't want to get quote. I don't know if he called the match, but Perfect definitely didn't call the match because he had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, it looked like it was the first time they ever met or something.
Yeah, that's why it was this should have been way better.
And Perfect's good against everybody, always.
He's perfect.
Yeah. Except when he's trying to say narcissist Lex Luger.
The Exorcist.
Luger eventually wins with a backslide while Mr. Perfect's entire legs and torso were in the ropes.
Yeah.
But Danny Davis didn't see it, which I assume is because of the concussion that he incurred with the last match.
That's a running theme in this match. The amount of deep looks that refs get in these matches that ignore everything around what they're exactly. It plays into the main event. It played here.
Match, it was just every rule is out
100%.
It's a window.
Yeah. By the way, another schmoz finish on WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect then chased Luger to the back where he gets cut off. Perfect gets cut off by HBK. And then they have a short but impactful backstage brawl, which you really didn't see too much in this era. Yeah. It didn't get big until Attitude Era. This is the first time I've seen a garbage can be used or whatever.
This was a lawn care shed. It was it was not glamorous at all.
No, it was legitimately a Oak Lawn Public Works, our old lawn care facility. I will say that the action between Perfect and HBK, in this 10-second brawl, was better than the action we got in either of their matches on the show.
Right. Yeah.
Not much. Very clearly the two most talented dudes maybe on the card.
Unfortunately, not much memorable from the match. But again, they did call back. Hey, Luger knocked out Bret Hart earlier today. It's the second time in the show they did it. And it was right
here.
That's all I had for that match. It was more disappointing.
I did have again with the back and forth. Heenan said something about Mr. Perfect cheap shot at Michaels back there.
Yeah.
And Macho Man was immediately go fuck yourself. I'll fucking stab you to death, you mother-fucker.
That's when he stood up. I thought it was earlier.
His mind.
Yeah.
We're you're reacting way too strongly, Macho. To that. Bob, he's the Weasel. Remember, he's supposed to be the comedy guy.
Right.
Please stop threatening to kill this man who I enjoy.
Pipe down, sir. Not having it right now. But
next matchup was the
greatest match in the history of professional wrestling.
Generally, across the wrestling fandom, considered the greatest in Undertaker's WrestleMania win streak.
Right.
El Gigante.
Undertaker has.
I know he's got another name, but El Gigante.
Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez, flanked by Harvey Whippleman. Undertaker's streak, his WrestleMania streak, was. I was looking it up, thinking it was way worse than it was. It really picked up steam following 10. Yeah. After he fought Flair.
This was really the only shitty one.
He had 5 absolutely goddamn duds. This was the tippy-top dud by a country mile.
Dud would be a big compliment.
Yeah, this was horrific.
I did note I enjoy that someone was forced to airbrush El Gigante's butt crack and butt dimples.
No, that was a bodysuit.
Butt dimples. But it was airbrush bodysuits.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that somebody had to airbrush onto the bodysuit butt dimples for a giant, and then everything else was he wears El Gigante or Giant Gonzalez wears a full bodysuit because he's a big giant guy, but Vince wants his guys to look like they're shredded. So he's wearing a full body bodysuit with just muscles painted on it.
Is that why you wore that?
Yeah. Ugh, but his
didn't work.
For his dick, they just colored it in brown.
Yeah.
Everything else, true to form, to the human form.
Yeah.
And Dick just colored in brown.
Yeah.
So implying that El Gigante has no cock.
No,
And
he's
then-
just got a healthy bush.
And a very, very detailed ass, though,
Yeah.
like with crack and with like top of butt dimples
Yeah.
that some people get when they get muscular buttocks.
Yeah.
It's just amusing to me that
He does mule
they went in
kickbacks,
hard there.
He works hard. Wherever he's not shaving his body, he's clearly doing squats.
Well, actually, when they came out, I will say the one really good thing about this match, when they did the entrances, Taker's entrance was my favorite thing on the show. He comes out like riding a cart thing. I love this look for him with it's like the classic old school, but with the newer, like the real old West Undertaker hat, and he's got the gray gloves and
he's playing red light, green light, not fucking moving a muscle.
Yeah, it's completely, totally still.
Yeah.
And on the thing with him that he's riding out on, they have a vulture.
Yeah.
And the vultures clearly fucking have a panic attack,
Yeah.
which means it's like causing it to like flap its wings.
Yeah.
Which is a fucking awesome visual. It's got this big vulture like flapping its wings out of absolute terror because there's no idea what's going on here.
Right.
But it looked great.
Also provided by Caesar's Palace, which was very, very kosher of them.
I wonder how many of those animals died in like
WrestleMania 9?
cocaine and rib related post WrestleMania incidents.
I don't know. I don't think they were handing it out all willy nilly. I think people are pretty private about their stash. I don't think they're giving it to the vulture.
Oh, I mean, like the partying that occurs probably.
You
on
think the
premises
vulture was there?
Immediately? I hope not.
No.
That poor vulture was so scared. I don't want that to be the last.
He
thing
was chained, like
that
he had
animal-
his foot chained to the bottom. This was hot garbage. This was hotter than the hottest garbage ever.
I don't even know if I can call it a wrestling match for most of it.
No.
They were just
Undertaker
kinda
tried.
pawn. Yeah, Undertaker was still like
tried.
a pretty good athlete at this point, but there's just nothing you could do with Gonzalez. He's like legitimately 7'6" or something.
Yeah.
He can move, but he never learned how to wrestle at all.
Right.
And he's been a wrestler now at this point for like 5 years because
Yeah.
he was in WCW for a long ass time.
Right.
And he goes back there too, and he just never learned how to wrestle.
I mean, what big guy ever learned how to wrestle?
But like Great Khali's learned more about wrestling than Gonzalez
that's fair.
could do any moves.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Like Khali at least learned 2 things.
Well,
Whatever.
he was very good at finishing a match that made no fucking sense, especially if you were in attendance.
Yes.
Good Lord.
That the entire crowd didn't know what the hell was going on. I do another gripe I had about this is just the general wrestling thing. If you have the Undertaker, the 6'10", awesome looking visual guy, don't put him in the ring with the guy that's like the only guy that's like 5 inches taller than him.
Right.
Like, the great thing about having a big guy in wrestling is putting him in there with other people that are not big giant guys.
Also,
'cause it
too,
looks great.
look at what we had so far with his streak. WrestleMania 7, Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 8, Jake the Snake Roberts. It's just been bangers so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, what the fuck?
Let's give him this like 8-foot guy who can't wrestle and is also going to make him look kind of weak because he's enormous.
Just take this time to
Silly.
remind everybody. Bam Bam Bigelow versus Kamala was left off the show. Put Bam Bam Bigelow in this match.
Yeah, why not Bam Bam Undertaker?
That would have
That'd
been
be a great.
amazing.
Got to be a classic. We'd be talking about that as like one of the greatest matches in his streak.
I keep going back to it because Bam Bam could have saved at least one match on this card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Multiple. Like,
Also, Tito Santana was in a dark match.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
He was in a fucking
Tito would have been great
IC
against
title match the
Undertaker.
prior, right? It was him and Michaels the prior year?
Yeah.
Was that for the IC title?
I think that's who Michael's
No.
Isn't it?
Eight was Hart and Piper.
Oh, that's right. The
Yeah.
Almost heel turn, not heel turn.
Yeah.
That was great. That
But
was a
still,
great
like
match. Great story, though.
Tito fought Sean the prior year, and now he's on a dark match?
Yeah.
No.
Meanwhile, the giant Gonzalez like absolutely ruins
Put
this match.
Razor and Bam. Fuck, Razor and Tito, and then Bam Bam and The Undertaker. That's a way more compelling card.
So Bill Alfonso is the actual ref in this match, and at one point, Giant Gonzalez punches the Undertaker like square in the balls, 8 inches from Bill Alfonso's open eyes.
Yeah.
But evidently, that's not a disqualification in 1993.
No. Well, he could change the rules. That's the theme of this for referees in this card.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew Hebner now has that ability. I guess Bill Alfonso does too.
Yeah. All referees do.
Then Giant Gonzalez does something not just I've never seen, but no one's ever seen before or since. He has a rag handed to him by Harvey Whippleman. It's just a white rag. He puts over Undertaker's face, and Undertaker goes unconscious because evidently it's chloroform, because the announce crew is telling us that, they can smell it, so it's chloroform. Everyone in attendance completely confused.
Yeah.
You look at the faces of the crowd, everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? Why did that washcloth just kill the Undertaker? It made no goddamn sense.
Right.
And if you got an 8-foot tall guy, even if he can't do anything, chloroform?
Yeah.
How about a steel chair?
Yeah.
Chloroform is what Harvey Whippleman would use to try to beat the Undertaker.
1000%.
Not an 8-foot tall man.
No. Who also doesn't have like pockets or pants. Like,
nowhere to hide.
Like, how is he transporting?
He didn't try to hide it either. He just did it.
Yeah.
And then was looking at the ref while he's doing it, and then he got disqualified. And he knew he was going to get disqualified.
Yeah.
And then that was it. He just stopped.
It was bad.
I don't know what was his end game there. What was it supposed to be? Like, he was trying to kill him? Well, then he didn't. Well, he didn't follow that up. He didn't do anything after. There was one cool thing that happened now, like at this point in the match, that kind of changed my perspective on this dude. So Bill Alfonso's, we mentioned him a couple times, ref for WWF at this time. He's the ref in this match. He goes on to become a kind of a famous manager in ECW, where he does a bunch of crazy bumps and stuff. But he's a super skinny, light dude. That's kind of, the visual of him, a little ref, was a part of the reason that they wanted him, as a referee. Elegante gets pissed off, and he grabs Alfonso, not shoot pissed off, but he grabs Alfonso legit around the neck, and he does this thing where he picks him up off the ground and ragdolls him real quick. And it's the first time I've ever seen Gonzalez actually using his strength.
Yeah.
In this 5-second little tiny thing that happens at the end of this match, it's it becomes super clear that, oh shit, this guy's the strongest guy in the whole company by a million miles. The way that he ragdolls Alfonso around with one hand. And I just had to think, why don't you have him do some of that shit in a match?
Yeah.
Instead of with a ref after my match is over and people are not paying attention anymore.
Right.
You have to really be watching. It's nuts what he does with Alfonso here.
There were no little guys back then, though.
Yeah.
You hear me? I'm getting a candy.
But what he did to Alfonso would translate to other feats of strength that he could do against big guys too. Maybe. Because this was he would legit look like a giant, like a fairy tale giant.
Yeah.
The strength that he had, shaking Bill Alfonso around like it was nothing. It was insane.
Dude, there's no time for feats of strength when you have to chloroform someone on the biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah.
Come on. Get it together.
So yeah, again, the top.
Also, really quick, and I'm afraid to Google this because I don't want to end up on an FBI watch list. What is the range of how far you can smell chloroform? Because they said it was. They were selling it like it's the most pungent thing ever.
Like it's paint thinner or something.
Yeah.
I've never used this stuff.
No, I might Google it because now that I have it on here and I explain why I'm Googling it.
If you soaked a rag in gasoline and used it the distance.
Is it equivalent to chloroform?
But they wouldn't smell gasoline on a rag that's because it was 30 feet away from where they were sitting.
Right.
So if it's just as strong smelling as gasoline, they would absolutely not smell it.
I don't know. I don't know. And
it's just who fucking decides that that's a good idea for a way to end this match. It's not like an old trope thing. It's somebody came up with it a new thing, so they thought it was a great idea.
Right.
What's wrong? Cocaine. It's cocaine.
That's classic big man mentality.
Yeah.
How do we end this match? Drugs.
Big man, giantest guy that's ever been in the company.
Yeah.
We'll use
giant is in his name.
a rape drug.
Yeah. Jesus.
Essentially a rape drug. They cut back to Mean Gene at this point, who shoehorns in a super awkward joke about Bobby Heenan's underpants.
Oh, I missed that part.
That happened 3 hours ago. So it was Gene back there just drinking and thinking, what kind of joke could I make about Bobby Heenan? It was something super awkward. It was just Bobby Heenan needs to get a new pair of underpants or whatever. Oh. Silly, nonsense. But it happened at the beginning of the show. We're 2.5 hours in.
Sure.
At this point. Total non sequitur. It didn't make any goddamn sense.
Right.
This is why I assumed Gene was 15 or 16 gin and tonics in at this point.
He's all by himself back there. He's got to pass the time. Mean Gene is interviewing Hulk Hogan.
And his gross eyeball.
Why is Hulk Hogan getting interviewed? I know why in the long term, but like if I don't know what's about to happen, why the fuck is Hulk Hogan getting interviewed?
You're talking like he has ulterior motives. The Hulkster was very clearly, as he told us there, to let Bret Hart know, but he went and visited him in the locker room.
He was in his locker room.
Let Bret Hart know that all the Hulkamaniacs are in Bret's corner tonight in his main event against Yokozuna, his title defense against Yokozuna.
Glad he declared that so we all knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy that Hogan did go do that, considering the only reason this match is happening in the first place is because he fucking refused to lose to Bret Hart.
Right.
And
which is wild.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Hogan also goes back, and of the three options of what happened to his eyeball, he reiterates the storyline one, which he was jumped. He implies he was jumped via some sort of very, very mild hit leaving the gym last night.
Yeah.
Just literally like a punch and run away. Yep. That's like, I just think of the Napoleon Dynamite scene where he gets like punches him and like jumps back.
Yeah.
That's what I assume. He also says...
And my thought was, have you looked in a goddamn mirror, Hulk?
Yeah.
Come up with something better than that.
Yeah. Maybe an eye patch? Like, wrestlers have worn eye patches forever.
It would have been more believable if he said, someone stabbed me with a steak knife in the eye last night. I'd be like, oh, that's why your eye is like that.
Or I got sucker punched by somebody from Money Inc.
Yeah.
Like, and now I have a black eye or have to wear an eye patch. But I don't know if it was all the fluid and bacteria accumulating in his head, or maybe it was just how he spoke in 1993. Because the next line,
racial slur.
Holy Lord!
Just casually drops a racial slur about Yokozuna.
Hogan says, "I'll eat the bullet here." Hogan says, and I quote, for my own safe passage here. Hulk Hogan says, "I'm issuing a challenge to either you," implying Bret Hart, "or the Jap."
The Jap.
The Jap.
Yeah, like my grandfather in 1958 or something.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the
fuck? I have no idea. This show had already been like a coke-fueled goddamn dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But then when that happened, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm taking it back. Holy, did Hogan just do a racial slur for the famously Hawaiian Yokozuna? Yeah.
I mean, this is not a company
baby
that
face.
It's your biggest baby, but as you've said,
cheating ass baby face.
He has spent
piece of trash.
Spent so much time just being a hot piece of garbage. Why stop now? Why stop now?
Yeah, but that's again, cocaine makes you think a lot of things are good ideas that are not good ideas. Racial slur, not a good idea for a baby face. We then get more Todd Pettengill bullying two children. And then after he bullies two children, he finds the two biggest assholes who've ever lived.
No, they drove up there from Southern California and they stole their sheets from Motel 6.
I know they're like 70 now in real life. Yeah. I want to find those guys and beat the shit out of them.
It's two guys in the crowd that are wearing togas, and Todd Pettengill was like, "Where'd you get those togas?" And they go, "Motel 6," like implying they stole the sheets from
They're
Motel
both
6.
like real life versions of like a sidekick from like a ski resort comedy from 1986.
Like they should have been in Van Wilder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those were the guys.
Real people don't exist like that. At first I thought they were like plants, like indie workers or something, but then they like kept fucking up everything that they were saying, so they're just two assholes.
Yeah, Motel 6 is not a sponsor of the show, so they did not leave the light on for them.
So the next up was the
what?
The main event. The main event. I can't because it's not the evening. I will still do it. Main event of the evening. Although it was the advertisement was like
main event of the midday.
Yeah, you're right. The advertised
main event.
So Yokozuna, like life-destroying weight gain. He's still a monster. Yeah. He's like 400 pounds, 450 or something.
Can't fucking move.
But like at this point, very athletic, very powerful. I forgot how good he was. Super believable. Good wrestler at this time. It was a good match.
Absolutely.
Bret Hart. It's Bret Hart. He's incapable of having a bad wrestling match.
He is so much better than everyone in that company.
Every time I watch a Bret Hart match, I am like every time I've watched a million Bret Hart matches and then rewatched them. Every single time I watch one, I go, "Oh, you know what? He's better than I fucking remembered."
Yeah.
Every single time, I'm surprised by how precise and incredible it is.
A noticeable amount.
Yeah.
Everything he does is correct.
It is as like stark and jarring and outstanding to watch Bret Hart in 1993 doing what he's doing here after watching this card as it was like watching Will Ospreay do his thing. It's just as impressive what Bret Hart is doing because the gap is that wide.
Absolutely.
And it's insane.
Couldn't get
he's
enough
doing
of
it with like, Yoko's a good wrestler at this point, but he's still a 450-pound man. So that it like limits what you could do. Right. And Bret Hart just perfection in this match.
I guess in his book, which is awesome. I read it cover to cover.
Yeah.
And then got him to sign it, which was nice.
Oh, nice.
He said that
did he shit talk Bill Goldberg while you were talking to him?
In line? No, he did not. He did not. He waited till I was gone, and then he goes, "Hey, come back here." And then we talked about it for about a half hour. At a boo. So Bret Hart said that he wanted to backload all the best moves at the end of the match. Yeah. And Yoko gassed out early.
Yeah, well, my only real negative was that there was when Yoko does that nerve pinch thing. It's like we're halfway into the match. There's a Yoko doing a nerve pinch for like a long ass time that is very clearly like okay, he's out of gas. He did kind of get a second wind back and it picked back up a little bit. But there was a very obvious gas out moment in this match.
And I don't get how you don't die when he does that leg drop.
Yeah.
It looks fucking amazing.
The scariest looking leg drop
I
ever.
don't get. I would love to like meet a wrestler who took it and be like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you take
Just
that?
his leg is like looks like a big giant, like a turkey drumstick. It's the shape of it. So it's just like all his weight's coming down on your. My two favorite leg drops, like Bobby Eaton's, but his was a top rope one that like cost him his spine.
Yeah.
And then Yokozuna's leg drop is unbelievable.
It's what a great and like his like super kick looks fucking great.
Yeah, and he's like almost 500 pounds.
Yeah, everything this guy does, like this should have been a very good match. And like, granted, they gave us that the following year.
Yeah,
like, but
like the word Yokozuna is like the real the word for like the champion and champion. You know what I found out in my little bit of research? Mm-hmm. Rikishi is a weight division in sumo wrestling. Oh, fuck. So Rikishi is also a sumo word.
So all the Samoans have Japanese sumo puns?
Yeah. My favorite, speaking of, a giant USA chant broke out.
Yeah.
The crowd, I'm sure, thought they were doing it for Bret Hart, who is very much Canadian.
Dude, that was
the guy he's facing is very much American.
They would
American born.
They would call that out on commentary. Yeah. They're like, neither guy's from America, but they're really behind Bret.
Look, no, two guys were from America. Yeah. Mr. Fuji and Yokozuna, both born, raised, completely American.
Their character presentation was not that.
So their USA chant was actually for Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji, unbeknownst to them.
Not the brightest crowd.
No, they're the same crowd that uproariously cheered for Hulk Hogan and his goofball sidekick cheating their asses off.
Bret Hart locked in an actual goddamn sharpshooter for a long time. This was the second time the referees were laser focused on if the person receiving a move was going to tap out or not.
Yeah.
Because how this match ended was fucking silly as shit. Mr. Fuji threw baby powder. I'm sorry, salt in the eyes.
Salt
because
Bret's eyes.
We have to forget what salt looks like because none of us have ever seen it in real life. And then Bret
it's Japanese salt. So us Americans don't understand that Japanese salt looks just like baby powder.
That's fair. It's more finely ground. And then Bret loses. Bret gets pinned and sells. He sells his eyes being hurt well past the point of Hulk Hogan coming down to the ring after the match, where he still can't see.
Hulk Hogan comes down to feigns like he's going to help out his buddy, Bret Hart.
It is his buddy because he told him before the match that all his Hulkamaniacs were behind him.
He did tell him the Hulkamaniacs were behind him. Mr. Fuji then gets up into the ring, and being Mr. Fuji, because Mr. Fuji fucks up everything that he does in his entire career, twice it says, "My Yokozuna." Not once, twice. My Yokozuna give you challenge. Mind you, he's from also from California, born and raised. But if there's one Japanese word you should know, it's the very popular and real word Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Also the name of the man he's managing right now.
Yeah.
No, Fuji can't get that right.
No.
But he essentially gives Hogan an open challenge to face his Yokozuna right now.
His weakened Yokozuna. Like the dude just had a world title match.
The main event of WrestleMania just ended.
Yes.
There's no briefcase or anything involved. It's just over.
Yeah.
The guy won. and then the bad guy manager decides to do a right here, right now,
right,
with Hulk Hogan,
with a relatively fresh Hulk Hogan, compared to a.
He did have an eyeball rotting out of his goddamn head,
but he had time to sit down and have a fresca.
I'm sure he loaded back up with the cocaine after his match finished up.
You keep saying Coke Zero wrong. I don't know.
Cocaína. Yayo. How about Yayo?
What is that?
That's in Espanol.
Is that like mellow yellow? I'm just going to keep making soft drink puns. Hulk Hogan.
Powdered.
Yeah, go ahead.
Powdered extract of the coca plant that people use as a stimulant drug.
Oh, that's definitely Sprite. It's definitely Sprite. Or the new one. They have a new like lemon lime drink.
They do. I love new soft drinks.
Oh, I saw there's a Super Bowl ad for it. I can't think of what the name of it is, but it's aggressively lemon and lime,
and it's no sugar too.
Yeah,
I get very excited about that.
Yeah.
My wife is a nurse practitioner, but also attained her doctorate in the last year. And
so she's a doctor.
She's a doctor. She's Dr. Marissa.
Yeah.
Which I have said to her in that voice, which did not elicit the reaction that I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But anyway, she works at a weight loss clinic. And that means that our house is not allowed to have very much sugar in it. So when a fun-looking beverage comes on the market that is made with something like monk fruit or stevia, it makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, aspartame or aspartame, my wife tells me is it's not a problem as far as glucose goes, but it will give you cancer. So,
sure.
So it's
got to pick your battles.
Got to be monk fruit, baby.
Sure.
Hogan wins with like a squash.
Yeah,
essentially,
he wins
immediately wins
under 10 seconds. He wins the world title.
Yeah. So then he does holds the championship up like kind of to the side of his face and does like a cheeky who me face that like every time I see it I want to stop watching wrestling the rest of my life.
Right.
It's so goddamn infuriating what they did to Bret Hart here.
Oh, he was infuriated too.
He should have been.
Yeah,
he was infuriated before the match from what I heard too, because Hogan, this whole thing was supposed to be like
what was supposed to happen, it was supposed to
be
Hogan's
Bret Hart program.
But they were about to go on their European tour, which they do every year after WrestleMania, and it was supposed to be Hogan's farewell tour. And they wanted to have the title on him when they did the European tour. But Hogan dropped the title before the fucking tour. Yeah. And it was like, it just negated everything. So
he dropped the title before the tour because he refused to drop it to Bret Hart.
Sure.
So they had to reschedule things and have him lose it. I forget. Shawn Michaels? No. Shawn Michaels was later.
Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
I think he dropped it back to Yokozuna.
Oh, dropped it back to Yoko. That's right.
Which he always said he would be, happy to do, or, He even told Brett, he's like, I appreciate this, brother. I'm not going to forget. I'll do it right back for you. And
many interviews and like books. It's the Hogan said, don't worry, I'll do the honors for you later. And of course,
he had it until
never happened.
What, King of the Ring, which was 2 fucking months later.
They also then were later, like years later, in a different company together where Hogan still did never do the honors for him.
No,
such a piece of shit.
He's an acquired taste.
Yeah, I think I think that cursed eyeball of his was God making his face look like what his soul is.
Yeah. Well,
punishment from the Lord above.
He finished the biggest show of the year in his industry as the world champion. Yeah. So it wasn't too much of a
know what? 1993 crowd went absolutely fucking apeshit again for this awful,
it was tough
garbage, like upsetting, like physically upsetting to watch finish.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, it was the right finish for the worst WrestleMania of all time. There were so few positives in this that I'm not giving it a net positive.
I can't give it a net positive despite having one of my favorite matches I've ever seen.
Yeah. But like juxtaposed against what else was on the card, you had to put in some effort, and it was the best match of the night, mind you.
They tried to. It took 4 guys trying to kill each other,
right? But
if you guys ever want to search it out or looking for something to watch on Peacock, skip all of it. You just go straight to that Head Shrinkers Steiner's match.
That's it.
That's like unambiguously one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Right.
Everything else, just cocaine.
I mean, if
fueled nonsense.
You're saying it wrong again. Coke Zero. If you like bad horror movies or ironic comedy, this is your jam.
Yeah.
This is for you.
Yes. Well, if you like splatter horror, like 80s splatter horror, you just go look at Hogan's face for a little bit.
If you like seeing the strings holding up the monsters, then this is for you. This is like all the way from production to announcing. Like it's all entertaining for the reasons it was never shot to be entertaining for.
Despite Heenan and the Steiners and the Head Drinkers and JR working their asses off to make it work.
It's bad.
I do think it was probably the first time that we the general public kind of got a whiff of, Hogan might be an asshole in real life, because this was it was pretty, like, the kids wouldn't have noticed, but like older
even
people.
When he when Flair won the world title in '92 at
and
the
they had
Royal
to do
Rumble,
his Sid Vicious nonsense.
he had to like Hogan.
Justice. I'm sorry.
Hogan was an asshole.
Yeah.
He held Sid's arm and let Flair, it was the most heely thing ever, but he was still the most over babyface in the company.
And then Flair wins the title and he immediately takes off, and Hogan poses and celebrates.
There were no tweeners at that point. We had no idea. We're like, oh, he's a good guy, so
he was
fuck it,
just
we'll
a piece
cheer
of
him.
shit. He was not even a tweener.
But we never had that.
Yeah.
There were no pieces of shit. We had very defined good guy, bad guy.
He did cheat his whole career. He always used the eye poke and used the back rake.
But he was the good guy.
People went nuts for him.
Right, because we weren't supposed to cheer bad guys.
Yeah.
You always liked a guy. You're like, I
I was a Hulkamaniac when I was a kid.
But when I was a child, I loved Mr. Perfect, and he was a heel. But I still cheered for Hulk Hogan. But I
almost cried when the Ultimate Warrior beat Hulk Hogan. I may have cried, actually.
Yeah. That was fun.
I
thought that was like the end of the universe.
Yeah,
I'm like, nothing's going to get better than this.
I'm glad, you live and learn, though.
Yeah, no shit.
Now we know what Hulk Hogan actually is.
That was WrestleMania 9.
That was WrestleMania 9, or how Hulk Hogan got a glass eye. Thanks for joining us, guys, for our first ever edition of Turnbuckle Time Machine. Tune back in, please, for the regular scheduled Blue Thunder Pod. That will go up Friday morning, as per usual. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We sure had fun talking about it. We'll have something else nice and juicy and terrible and badly booked for you again next week on our next edition of Turnbuckle Time Machine.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.